Chapter 582. The one who spoke wasn't Yang Wu, but Yang Hongqiang. What kind of strength did Yang Wu have to be able to catch Shu Yujun's eye? Xiao Chen actually had the guts to challenge Yang Wu. If he wasn't an idiot, then what was? Xiao Chen was flustered by Yang Hongqiang's words. He wanted to curse back, but he didn't know how. He clenched his fists tightly, wishing he could beat up Yang Wu and Yang Hongqiang. Xiao Chen, you disappoint me. Get out of here immediately. Shu Yujun was extremely disappointed in Xiao Chen. She pointed at the door and yelled. Xiao Chen could feel that Shu Yujun was truly angry, and the anger he felt just now quickly subsided. He took a deep breath and said, "Junior sister, I'm sorry. I was too agitated. I'll leave now." He left as soon as he said so. In reality, his heart was already filled with anger. He was thinking about how to take revenge on Yang Wu. When he reached the door, he turned around and said, "Yang Wu, our Hengshan sect has a rule. Whoever can pass 3 trials in the 1,000 mountains will receive a top-quality 1,000 weighty stone." After he finished speaking, he left without looking back. The people of the Hengshan sect were all confused. They didn't understand what Xiao Chen meant. Could it be that he wanted Yang Wu to challenge the 1,000 mountains? Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to receive a top-quality 1,000 weighty stone? Martial Heavenly King, don't listen to his nonsense. Yuexian looked at Yang Wu and said, "Was what he said true?" Yang Wu asked. "It's true, but the 1,000 mountains isn't open to outsiders." Yuexian replied. "Then what does he mean?" Yang Wu asked again. Chen Jiagang said from the side, "He's taking revenge on you. Only the top Heaven Realm people can pass the 3 trials in the 1,000 mountains. With our strength, we probably can't even pass the first trial." "What happens if we can't pass?" "1,000 mountains, 1,000 weighty gravity. If we don't die, we'll lose half of our life." "How can this person be so bad?" Bai Luoyun said. Yang Jie said, "There aren't any birds in the forest. I haven't eaten my fill yet." Shu Yujun clapped her hands and called for the servants to clear the table. She planned to serve another table, but everyone had lost their appetite to eat. "Why?" Yang Wu asked. Shu Yujun lightly nodded her head and said, "That's right. However, if you can't pass, you'll suffer a bit. Xiao Chen clearly wants you to lose face." She paused for a moment and then said, "I also hope that Yang Wu can try. Although you'll suffer a bit, you'll benefit from each pass. Up until now, I've only been able to pass 2 passes in a row and haven't been able to pass the 3rd. If Yang Wu dares to try, I'll accompany you." "Didn't you say that it wasn't open to outsiders?" Yang Wu asked. "Everything has an exception. You saved my life before. What's the big deal about wanting to try the 1,000 mountains?" Shu Yujun said. "Then if I pass 3 passes, will I really get a top-quality 1,000 weighty stone?" "Of course." "All right, I'll try." It was already late at night. Everyone dispersed. The time to enter the 1,000 mountains was set for tomorrow. When the sun rose, Yang Wu and Bai Wuming headed to the 1,000 mountains together. Bai Wuming just wanted to join in the fun. He also wanted to see what the 1,000 mountains looked like. Before Yang Wu returned to his room, Yuexian told him a few things about the 1,000 mountains before leaving. The 1,000 mountains was the place where the Heng Mountain sect mined the 1,000 weighty stone. The Heng Mountain sect's saints had set up checkpoints there to train their disciples. The 1,000 mountains had a total of 9 checkpoints. Each checkpoint had a different obstacle. It was effective for warriors in the dragon transformation realm or below. Since the 1,000 mountains had been set up 10,000 years ago, there weren't many who could pass all 9 checkpoints. However, those who could pass all 9 checkpoints had already become saints. Xiao Chen purposely provoked Yang Wu and made Yang Wu pass the checkpoints. He wanted to make Yang Wu lose face and vent his anger. Yang Wu didn't want to pass the checkpoints at first. However, when he heard Yang Hongchang and Shu Yujun let him pass the checkpoints, he agreed. After being trained by his master in the Demon Taming Hall, he understood a principle. A person's potential was limitless. It was just that it hadn't been dug out. Only in various difficult situations could one explode with extreme power. At the same time, he also wanted to understand how brilliant the Heng Mountain sect's methods of training their disciples were. It was also for the sake of obtaining that top-quality, thousand-weighty stone. If he passed the checkpoints, he could at least save a few thousand high-grade black spirit stones. Yang Wu returned to his room. After using a spirit leaf to wrap a snake gall and swallowing it, he abandoned all distracting thoughts and entered a meditative state. He began to cultivate the Soul Control Heart Sutra. Every night, Yang Wu would cultivate the Soul Control Heart Sutra to increase his soul power. He wanted to condense his soul body into a war soul as soon as possible. Only then would his spiritual power be able to reach a higher level. Only then would he have the ability to protect himself against foreign races that were proficient in soul power attack. The path of cultivation was dry and uninteresting. After Yang Wu stepped into the celestial fish realm, not only did he not find it boring, but he also experienced a trace of pleasure. Making joy in hardship and producing saliva in weariness, this was the true nature of martial arts cultivation. Whether it was to protect one's family or loved ones, or to kill one's enemies, only the strongest martial arts could deal with it. Today, Xiao Chen's provocation had long been forgotten by Yang Wu. In his heart, he was just a clown, not worth mentioning. What really worried Yang Wu was his grandfather, Yang Jingtao. He wanted to go to the Yang family as soon as possible to reunite with him so that his grandfather wouldn't have to suffer. The night passed quickly. Yang Wu's spiritual power was full. Every night of bitter cultivation had obvious improvements. The increase in soul power was not something that martial artists of the same level could compare with. The sun rose in the east. Purple chi came from the east, and all things came to life. The Heng Mountain sect's gourd cauldron gathering momentum showed a strange phenomenon. A wave of purple chi was absorbed into the mouth of the gourd, and then quickly spread to every part of the gourd. All the living creatures and plants here benefited. The Heng Mountain sect's disciples Xian Qi improved, and the spirit demons Xian Qi soared. The exotic flowers and herbs were fragrant, and the old bamboo forest was even more lush. Sitting cross-legged in the room, Yang Wu felt the purple chi around him. The Supreme Nine Mysteries formula absorbed it, and the Xian Qi dripped into his dantian like rain. The celestial fish in his dantian opened its mouth to swallow the Xian Qi, and a large amount of Xian Qi fell into the earth sea. Wisps of mist floated, reflecting the bright moon, the heaven and earth profound bridge, and resonating with the 8 extraordinary meridians, acupoints, and stars. The power of this wave of purple chi was comparable to Yang Wu's 100 days of cultivation in the mortal world. This was the reason why the transcendent world was different from the mortal world. 1 day of cultivation in the transcendent world was comparable to 100 days in the mortal world. Therefore, no matter how talented the geniuses of the mortal world were, they could not be compared to the geniuses of the transcendent world. Even an ordinary warrior was far better than everyone in the mortal world. Yang Wu absorbed the power of this wave of purple chi, and his body was full of energy. The power of the beginner celestial fish realm had an obvious increase, and it was not as simple as the initial consolidation. With his speed of absorbing the Xian Qi of heaven and earth, it would not be long before he was close to the peak of the intermediate celestial fish realm. This was the difference between the Supreme Nine Mysteries formula, otherwise, why would Little Hay call it the strongest celestial formula? Yang Wu opened his eyes, and the little flood dragon coiled around him playfully turned over and continued to sleep quietly. The little flood dragon did not follow him into the Yangtze River. It waited for him to come up from the Yangtze River before returning to his body. It was still very young and very sleepy. Perhaps it had stayed in the egg for too long, and that was why it was so lazy. Yang Wu took out the blood essence of the blood flood dragon, and the little flood dragon immediately woke up. It opened its mouth, wanting to eat it. Eat it. After you have digested the blood essence, I will give you the core of the flood dragon to speed up your growth, Yang Wu said softly. The little flood dragon could understand Yang Wu's words. After quickly swallowing the blood essence, it rubbed against Yang Wu's body, appearing to be very intimate. Then it burrowed into Yang Wu's arms and went back to sleep. Yang Wu had many parts of the blood flood dragon, but he did not give it to eat. He did not want it to grow too quickly, and it would be better to follow the growth process of all living things. Then, Yang Wu took out the soul-suppressing pot, and his mind easily entered it, waking up Lei Zhongjuan, who was cultivating. "Master, what's the matter?" Lei Zhongjuan asked. "Do you want to come out and see the sun?" Yang Wu asked. Lei Zhongjuan was overjoyed. "Really? Hee, when have I ever lied to you?" Yang Wu said. "Zhongjuan, thanks my lord. Don't thank me so early. You have cultivated the ghost cultivation art quite well, but you are still far from it. Moreover, the chant I gave you is not complete. Even if you come out, you can only rely on something else." "Master, don't worry. I don't ask for much. I just want to go out and see the sun. All right, I will leave a portion of your soul power in the soul-suppressing pot to prevent you from escaping. That would not be good." "Master, I am not that kind of person. You are that kind of person." A water crocodile puppet appeared in the room. Its body had shrunk quite a bit, otherwise it would have burst the room. As the master of the beast-taming hall, Yang Wu could easily control the puppet's size. This water crocodile puppet had the strength of a small demonic saint when it was alive. If Lei Zhongjuan could enter its body and control it, then it would be the same as having a small saint-level protector by his side. Yang Wu summoned Lei Zhongjuan out and left a strand of his soul power. If Lei Zhongjuan dared to betray him, then as long as he erased the last strand of his soul power, Lei Zhongjuan's soul would be heavily injured. At that time, killing him would be as easy as flipping his hand. Lei Zhongjuan had no way to refute. He used to have a high status and was a dignified saint, but now he was just a ghost. He didn't know how many years he had been sealed. He just wanted to return to reality and feel the sun and moon shine on him. When Lei Zhongjuan's soul power entered the water crocodile puppet, it seemed to have a bit of vitality. However, it wouldn't be easy for him to control this puppet's body. It was a human when it was alive, not a demonic beast. Familiarize yourself with this place. I hope that when I come back, you will have already controlled this puppet." Yang Wu said and walked out of the room. The others also walked out of the room one after another. "Good morning, everyone." "Good morning, Martial Heavenly King." Yang Wu greeted everyone, and everyone immediately returned the greeting to Yang Wu. UXN appeared in front of everyone on time and said, "Martial Heavenly King, I will bring you to the 1,000 Mountains." Chapter 583. Thousand Layer Mountain was one of the 81 mountains. It was located in the southwest and was the 78th of the 81 mountains. This mountain was tens of thousands of feet tall and spanned over 10 miles. It was a giant 1,000-layer stone mine. Ever since the Heng Mountain sect found out about the mine, they had been mining it slowly. They didn't dig too much to give it time to regenerate and prevent it from completely drying up. Also, because of the gourd-gathering cauldron, the 1,000-layer mountain regenerated 1,000-layer stone very quickly. As long as the soil was filled in, after 100 years of precipitation, it could be fossilized again. After another 100 years, it could form another 1,000-layer stone. After 500 or 1,000 years, it could form a top-quality 1,000-layer stone. The Heng Mountain sect made a 1,000-year cycle plan to ensure that the 1,000-layer stone would regenerate endlessly. Uxian brought Yang Wu, Yang Hongchang, Bai Weiming, and the others to the 1,000-layer mountain. There were already quite a few people gathered here. Shu Yujun, Xiao Chen, and Lin Huang were all here. There were also some people of different ages. They were the deacons or disciples of the Heng Mountain sect. The 1,000-layer mountain was open at all times. As long as one was a disciple of the Heng Mountain sect, they could challenge it. Most of the deacons and disciples in front of them were here to challenge it. A small portion of them were from the West Peak. They were Xiao Chen's supporters and had been called over by Xiao Chen to watch Yang Wu make a fool of himself. When Xiao Chen saw that Yang Wu had arrived, a sinister smile appeared on his face. He muttered in his heart, "You dare make a fool of me in front of everyone? I'll definitely make you leave Heng Mountain with your face covered in dirt." Yang Wu noticed Xiao Chen's gaze but didn't put him in his eyes. Instead, he warmly welcomed Shu Yujun and said, "Miss Shu, thank you for your kind treatment. You let me challenge your sect's cultivation trial." Yang Wu was no longer the ignorant youth from before. He could tell from Xiao Chen's hostility that it was because of Shu Yujun, so he purposely continued to provoke him. Who made him suffer? He would make them suffer even more. Sure enough, when Xiao Chen saw Shu Yujun passionately respond to Yang Wu, his eyes were filled with the flames of jealousy. He clenched his fists, wishing he could rush up and beat up Yang Wu. "I've already reported the matter of the 1,000 mountains to the elders. Today we're opening it to the public. Regardless of whether you're an ally of the White Water Clan or any other friend, you can challenge the 1,000 mountains. Those who succeed will be rewarded with the 1,000 mountains," Shu Yujun announced to everyone. "Then I also want to try," Yang Hongchang said excitedly. Then he said to Yang Jie and the others, "The three of you also want to try." "Seventh uncle, we're still in the Earth-Sea realm," Yang Jie replied with a drooping face. "An Earth-Sea realm cultivator can pass the first stage," Yu Xian said from the side. "I heard that it's dangerous to pass the trial," Yang Jie said again. "He won't die," Yu Xian replied. In the next moment, an elder of the 1,000 mountains gave everyone a teleportation jade talisman. If anyone couldn't handle it in the 1,000 mountains, they could crush the jade talisman and teleport back to their current position. There would be no danger to their lives. Yang Jie, Yang Po, and the others couldn't refuse, so they could only brace themselves and agree. Yang Wu played with the jade talisman in his hand and couldn't help but sigh. Great powers have so many good things. This was the first time he'd heard of this kind of jade talisman. Through his immortal qi, he could feel that this jade talisman contained a trace of holy qi. It was a jade talisman made by a saint. Even if it was extremely thin, it was enough for teleportation. "Yang Wu, today I'll accompany you through the 3 stages," Shu Yujun said to Yang Wu. Today, she'd changed into a set of dark blue satin with a snake scale belt around her waist, perfectly outlining her tall and slender figure. Her exposed skin was tender and translucent like jade. Her beautiful hair was tied up high, and the blue scarf belt fluttered in the wind. It was a heroic and dainty style. A third of the Heng Mountain sect's female disciples were female, but among the younger generation, Shu Yujun was definitely the #1 beauty. Many men in the Heng Mountain sect admired her, but without absolute talent or background, they basically didn't dare to provoke her. Xiao Chun was the kind of person who had talent and background. He'd always wanted to pursue Shu Yujun. In the future, he might even have a chance to take over the position of sect leader. Yang Wu was about to speak when Xiao Chun provoked him again. "Yang Wu, I was wrong yesterday, but I'll remember the humiliation you gave me. Today we'll make a bet. No matter what the result is, we'll write off all our grievances. How about it? Xiao Qin, will you only be satisfied after ruining our Heng Mountain sect's righteous reputation?" Shu Yujun angrily glared at Xiao Qin. "Junior sister's words are wrong. Yang Wu humiliated me, so I must take back my face. Otherwise, in the future, it'll cause a knot in my heart and I won't be able to reach the peak of martial arts. Then he'll be my enemy. So today, I only want to settle things once and for all. Junior sister, please don't stop me," Xiao Chen said in a low voice. After a pause, he added, Could it be that Junior's sister is more biased towards outsiders? Someone beside Xiaochen said, Junior's sister Shu, let men solve their own problems. It's not a life and death battle, so why bother? That's right. If he has the guts, then what's wrong with making a bet with senior brother Xiao? He won't lose his life. They're all Hing Mountain disciples. If outsiders respect our master, then they shouldn't be so impudent. No matter what, Yang Wu was still an outsider. The Hing Mountain sect's disciples were more biased towards Xiao Qin. Shu Yujun was so angry that she couldn't speak. If she continued to side with Yang Wu, then these people would have even more opinions. Yang Wu didn't want to make things difficult for Shu Yujun. He said, How do you want to bet? I'll help you. I know you want to refine a weapon. If you pass the 3 trials, then you can get a top-grade 1000 heavy stone. I also have a tortoise-patterned stone. Even though it's not big, it's still a small saint material. If you win, then I'll give it to you. Xiao Qin said with a faint smile. After a pause he said, If I win, then I don't want anything from you. I just want you to kneel down and apologize to me. As soon as he said this, Yang Hongchang, Yang Jie, and the 5 heroes glared at Xiao Qin. They felt that he was going too far. Yang Hongchang even opened his mouth and said, Yang Wu, let's go. Don't try anymore. Let's return to the Yang clan. I'll ask the clan's blacksmith to forge a weapon for you. How can we, the people of the War Clan, be humiliated by others? When the 2 words, War Clan, rang out, the hearts of the Hing Mountain sect's people trembled. They all looked at Yang Hongchang with disbelief. It was hard to believe that he was a member of the War Clan. In the ancient times, there were tens of thousands of clans. The human race was weak, and was once reduced to the food of the other races. It was the War Clan that created tens of thousands of methods and led the human race to a bloody path of self-improvement. In the end, they intimidated tens of thousands of clans and helped the human race to become the leader of the tens of thousands of clans. Even now, the tens of thousands of clans didn't dare to make the human race their enemy. Unfortunately, with the passage of time, there were war clans that were still strong, but there were also war clans that declined. In addition, there were also other human races that suddenly emerged. The war clan's position was far from before, but they were still worthy of the respect of many humans. Yang Wu waved his hand at Yang Hongchang and then said to Xiao Qin, Your bet is not bad, but it's not enough. If you want me, Yang Wu, to kneel, you have to pay a price. Other than the tortoise stone, if you shout, I'm a pig 3 times, I'll bet with you. Okay, I agree. Xiao Qin said straightforwardly. Junior brother Xiao Qin, you've already tried the 1000 mountains 5 times. The last 3 times you failed at the 3rd trial. It seems like you have the confidence to pass all 3 trials this time. Lin Huang, who had been silent until now, said. Xiao Qin smiled and said, Senior brother Lin overpraises me. This time, no matter what, I will pass. Yang Wu understood Lin Huang's words. Xiao Qin had tried many times, so his chances of passing all 3 trials was very high. As for him, an outsider who had never entered the 1000 mountains, there was no way he could compare. This isn't fair. Yang Jie said with dissatisfaction. There is no such thing as fairness in this world. A disciple from the Heng Shan sect replied. Tang Wen asked, If both of them don't pass, or if both of them pass, how will the victor be determined? It's very simple. If they don't pass, then it'll depend on who goes further and lasts longer. If both of them pass, then it'll depend on who passes faster. A Heng Shan sect disciple said. Yang Wu replied, Okay, let's not talk nonsense. Let's start now. Haha, you're straightforward enough. I'll wait for you to kneel and apologize. Xiao Qin laughed loudly. He took the lead and walked towards the trial. The other people from the Heng Shan sect also quickly followed. Their gazes swept past Yang Wu from time to time. Most of them were filled with ridicule, disdain, and hostility towards Yang Wu. Martial Heavenly King, I'm afraid you'll lose this time. How about you don't compete? Uxian went up and advised Yang Wu. Shu Yujun revealed a guilty expression and said, "It's all my fault. Let me stop this." Yang Wu smiled and said, "You guys worry too much. Even though I don't know how difficult your 1,000 Mountains Pass is, I don't think I'll lose just like that. If I really lose, then I can only blame myself for overestimating myself. It's not like I'll lose too much. Let's go, I'll go take a look at the 1,000 Mountains Pass." Bai Wuming said, "Yang Wu is right. His battle strength is extraordinary. Even if your 1,000 Mountains Pass is extraordinary, you might not be able to trap him." Bai Luoyun agreed and said, "My lord's battle strength is unrivaled. There's nothing that can stop him." "Okay, then let's go." Shu Yujun was not a wishy-washy person. She brought Yang Wu's group to the first stage of the 1,000 Mountains Pass. This was a mountain path. On the mountain path, there were 9 by 9, 81 steps. The distance between each step was not small, and it led straight to the belly of the mountain. Shu Yujun introduced, "The first stage is the Carrying Mountain Pass. Once you enter the steps, you will be surrounded by a mountain. Moreover, your profound chi is sealed, and you can only rely on your physical body to complete the 81 steps to complete the first stage. Therefore, in this stage, you must have at least 10,000 cauldrons of strength to climb the mountain. Otherwise, when the mountain approaches, some disciples will overestimate themselves and not even have time to use the teleportation jade talisman before being crushed to death." "Then let's not go." Yang Jie immediately retreated. Uxian said, "Don't be afraid. The first step only needs to withstand 1,000 cauldrons of strength. The higher you go, the stronger the mountain will be. When you can't take it anymore, shatter the teleportation jade talisman and you can leave." "That's better." Yang Jie let out a sigh of relief. "Stop talking nonsense. That guy is climbing the step." "Yang Wu, hurry up," Yang Hongchang said anxiously. At this time, Shao Chen was the first to climb the step. Chapter 584. The supporting mountain pass required 1,000 cauldrons for each level. 1,000 cauldrons of strength could be obtained as long as one reached the peak of the Earth-Sea realm. In the Transcendent Realm, some of the geniuses at the intermediate level of the Earth-Sea realm possessed 1,000 cauldrons of strength. Therefore, the first level could only be attempted by those at the Earth-Sea realm. However, there were 81 steps in total. If one wanted to reach the top, one had to bear 100,000 cauldrons of strength. This was because the further one went, the heavier the cauldrons on one's back. This was a level created by the saint using the power of the 1,000 mountains. Shao Chen had attempted the multiple 1,000 mountains pass many times. The first level was nothing to him. After all, he was at the high level of the heavenly fish realm. His strength could fight against those at the peak of the heavenly fish realm. It wasn't too difficult for him to bear 100,000 cauldrons of strength. His body was like a flood dragon as he rapidly walked up as if he was walking on flat ground. The formless mountain that was pressing down on him couldn't make him bend at all. It was obvious that his physical strength wasn't weak. In a few blinks of an eye, he was already at the top of more than 10 steps and was still rapidly climbing up. The disciples who came with him were also climbing up the step. However, they couldn't compare to Shao Chen. After walking up 2 or 3 steps, their bodies were slightly bent. Every step was incomparably difficult. "Climb the steps," Shu Yujun said to Yang Wu. Yang Wu didn't argue and stepped up the steps. Whoosh! The formless 1,000 cauldrons mountain fell on his body, making him carry the mountain. The crowd didn't accompany him up. Instead, they waited below to see if he could adapt to this kind of cultivation. Those who could carry the mountain and cross the 81 steps would have their bodies tempered. Their physical strength would increase, and the circulation of energy would accelerate. It was the best level to temper one's body. Yang Wu stopped at the first step and didn't walk up. Instead, he closed his eyes as if he was sensing something. Or was it because he lost his xian qi that he couldn't move forward? Everyone was stunned. They were clear about Yang Wu's combat strength. It was impossible for him to stop at the first step and not move forward. Just as everyone was puzzled, Yang Wu started running. That's right, Yang Wu was running upwards instead of strolling leisurely. Everyone was stunned by this scene. There was also someone who sneered and said, "You really don't know the difference between life and death. The strength of the first step here is 1,000 cauldrons. Only by walking slowly on each step and slowly adapting to it can you better adapt to the gravity here. If you run, the pressure on carrying mountain will increase greatly. In a situation where you can't use Xianqi, even a heavenly fish realm expert will be seriously injured by the pressure." Haha, what a fool! I guess he will be crushed by the power of carrying mountain when he reaches the 10th step. This person is too conceited. He will know his mistake once he suffers a great loss. Look, he has already run past 10 steps. Why do I feel that he is not carrying the mountain? Some of the Heng Mountain sect disciples mocked and ridiculed Yang Wu for his recklessness, but when they saw Yang Wu reach the 10th step in the blink of an eye, they all shut up. "Yang Wu, slow down. Don't act on impulse," Shu Yujun called out to Yang Wu. At the same time, she also began to step onto the first step. In a few steps, she reached the second step, wanting to catch up with Yang Wu. Bai Weiming, Bai Luoyun, Yang Hongchang, and the others all followed one after another. When they stepped onto the steps, there was a force that isolated their dantian's Xianqi. They could only rely on their physical strength to climb up. These people grew up in the transcendent realm and obtained all kinds of body-tempering items, so they could withstand it. However, it was impossible for them to run like Yang Wu. Everyone slowly walked up, their eyes never leaving Yang Wu. They found that Yang Wu was still running without stopping for a moment. Soon, he caught up with Xiao Chen, who was in the lead. At this moment, Xiao Chen had already reached the 33rd step. Bearing the force of carrying the mountain, his speed began to slow down a little, but his expression was still relaxed. He muttered to himself, "This is already my 6th time passing through the 1,000 mountains. In order to pass through the 3rd stage, I specially consulted my senior brother who had already passed through the stage. This time, I will definitely succeed. At that time, I will definitely make that little bastard kneel in front of me and apologize. I will plant a heart demon in him. At that time, junior sister Shu will naturally know that he is just a gigolo. How can he be compared to me?" Whoosh! Xiao Chen heard the sound of a strong gust of wind. He saw a silhouette pass by him and continue to charge upwards. He thought he was seeing things and rubbed his eyes. When he realized it wasn't an illusion, he cried out involuntarily, "Impossible!" He actually saw Yang Wu running up, completely ignoring the force of carrying the mountain. It was hard for him to accept. However, when he was once again sure that Yang Wu was getting closer, he did not have time to think too much. He quickly increased his speed and stepped up. Isn't this little bastard's strength suppressed? How can he run here? Xiao Chen cursed in his heart. Not only was he shocked, the others were also shocked. They thought that Yang Wu would be suppressed the higher he went, or even be injured. However, the scene they imagined did not happen at all. Yang Wu was like a barbaric dragon, rushing to the top of the 81st step with his fastest speed. Along the way, Yang Wu naturally could not use his profound qi. It was just that his physical body was far superior to his peers. He had a spotless and immaculate body, and had been tempered in many ways. It could be considered a small achievement. At least, it was comparable to the constitution of a dragon transformation realm prodigy, and even surpassed most of them. He had the foundation of a sage body. Once a sage body was formed, one could break through all methods with unparalleled combat strength. This path was very difficult, but Yang Wu was walking in that direction step by step without realizing it. The 81st step did not seem like much, but in fact, there was a considerable distance between each step. Moreover, the strength of each step was increasing. If he ran, he would have to bear twice the strength. If this strength was used on others, it would not be easy for anyone to bear it. However, it did not have much effect on Yang Wu. After Yang Wu reached the top, Xiao Chun had just stepped onto the 38th step. He raised his head and saw Yang Wu looking back at him. Instantly, he felt extremely humiliated. How could he reach the top so quickly? Bastard! Xiao Chun let out an unwilling roar, so he also quickened his pace and rushed over. However, no matter how hard he tried, under the situation where his profound energy was sealed, his speed was far slower than Yang Wu's. The others also saw that Yang Wu had passed the first stage. They all widened their eyes and mouths, unable to believe what they were seeing. Passing the first stage in 30 breaths, breaking the fastest record. You will be rewarded with a grain of 1,000-layered sand. The voice of a saint reverberated in front of the 1,000-layered mountains. Everyone near the 1,000-layered mountains heard the sacred words. Some people were mining 1,000-layered stones, while others were cultivating nearby. Among them, there were some young disciples and some old deacons. Who is so powerful? He passed the first stage in 30 breaths of time. He broke through the historical grade and reached the top of the first stage. Did I hear wrong? I heard that senior brother Xiao Qin is going to break through the 1,000-layered mountains today. It can't be that he did it, right? This is absolutely impossible. The last time senior brother Xiao Qin passed the first stage, it took him nearly an incense stick's worth of time. The record for the past 100 years was still held by our sect master. When he was in the heaven realm, he passed the first stage in 100 breaths of time and obtained the historical reward. Today, not only did someone surpass him, they even shortened the time by so much. Could it be that a peak heaven realm deacon is trying to pass the stage? And it's even a feat set by the eldest miss. Let's hurry over and take a look. Who is it that's so abnormal? That's the 1,000-layered sand. It's even more precious than a top-grade 1,000-layered stone. That's right, the 1,000-layered sand is a true sacred material, not just a small sacred material. A grain weighs 10,000 kilograms. In front of the first stage of the 1,000-layered mountains, Shu Yujun revealed a strong fighting spirit and said, "Yang Wu, you really are a monster. I can't be too far behind you." As the daughter of the Heng Mountain Sect's sect master, Shu Yujun had obtained many materials to temper her body since she was young. However, compared to Yang Wu, she was still lacking by a lot. Her previous record was 180 breaths of time, which was the best result in the past 10 years. Now, she worked hard to rush up and quickly surpassed Xiao Chun, becoming the second person in one fell swoop. Xiao Chun did not feel embarrassed falling behind Shu Yujun, but soon after, 2 or 3 people surpassed him one after another. He instantly wanted to die. My Aqua clan will not fall behind others. Bai Weiming quickly walked up the stairs and overtook Xiao Chun. Yang Hongchang was right behind him. This guy even purposely bumped into Xiao Chun and said, we're all family. Why am I so slow?" These words were very unpleasant to Xiao Chen's ears. He cursed in his heart, "You're going too far." Another voice rang out and said, "As expected of the Lord. There's no one like him in the past and no one in the future. People who overestimate themselves still dare to provoke him. They don't even know how to write the words death." The fourth person to surpass Xiao Chun was Bai Luoyun. He looked at Xiao Chun from the corner of his eyes, then straightened his back and quickly walked up. Xiao Chun felt that he was about to suffer internal injuries. He had already passed the first stage 6 times. The fastest time he spent was close to an incense stick's worth of time. This time, he was confident that he could pass this stage in half an incense stick's worth of time. However, Yang Wu only spent 30 breaths of time, which was 10 times shorter than him. This was a huge blow to him. This is only the first stage. He might not have such good luck in the second stage. I will definitely pass the first 3 stages before him. Xiao Chun clenched his teeth and continued to speed up as he comforted himself. Yang Jie, proud sword 5 heroes, and the others were used to seeing Yang Wu's miraculous and powerful strength. They were already used to it. They were still slowly walking up the first 5 steps. It was as if they were carrying a mountain on their backs. Sweat seeped out from their foreheads. It seemed that they were not feeling well. However, they still had smiles on their faces. Yang Wu had reached the top, and they were also basking in his glory. The number 1 Heavenly King is indeed the number 1 Heavenly King. This time, he broke the record. It means that since the 1,000 Mountains was set up, Martial Heavenly King has broken the previous record by a lot. That's right. He's a peerless genius of the same generation as Martial Heavenly King. I don't know if I should be happy or worried. It's all that person's fault. Our Hang Mountain sect's younger generation is going to be crushed. Chapter 585. Back Mountain Pass. On the 81 steps, Yang Wu stared blankly at a grain of sand in his palm. He felt that this grain of sand wasn't sand, but a huge rock that weighed 10,000 jin. If it wasn't for his amazing arm strength, he wouldn't even be able to hold this grain of sand firmly. 1,000-layered sand. This was a true saint material, and also the most valuable thing in the 1,000-layered mountains. In the entire mineral vein, it was easy to dig out 1,000,000 jin of 1,000-layered stone, but it was difficult to dig out 100 grains of 1,000-layered sand. The 1,000-layered sand was the essence of the 1,000-layered mountains. After adding the 1,000-layered sand to any weapon, its quality would rapidly increase, and its attack power would be greatly increased. Initially, Yang Wu only wanted the supreme grade 1,000-weighty stone, which was a minor saint material. However, after passing the first stage, he obtained a saint material. He smiled and said to himself, "It seems like I can get additional rewards if I pass the stages quickly. I have to treat the second stage seriously." Yang Wu nodded. If others knew that Yang Wu didn't use his full strength in the first level, how would they feel? Yang Wu's spotless body had already reached the small success stage, and he was able to display extraordinary power. If he waited until the large success stage, his spotless body would become even more terrifying. Yang Wu didn't pay attention to the people behind him and rushed towards the second stage. In front of him, there was a piece of open land. There were 8 ancient copper pillars in the middle of the open land. Ancient patterns appeared on the pillars, and they were distributed in every corner of the open land, forming a rough 8 trigrams diagram. In this diagram, there were 18 copper men standing in different positions, holding identical copper swords. Each of them had a different expression, as if they were guarding an area. The second level, fighting the copper men. These 18 copper men were arranged according to the Shaolin Temple's 18 Arhat. They were all puppets, and each of them had the strength of the heaven realm. When they worked together and cooperated with the formation, even a top heavenly fish realm martial artist would fail here. This was because they still couldn't use Xian Qi in battle, and they also had to withstand the strength of the first level, which greatly increased the difficulty of passing the level. There were many disciples and deacons who had reached the heavenly fish realm in the Hang Mountain sect, but there weren't many who could pass the second level with their strength. Out of 10,000 people, only 500 people could pass the second level, and these 500 people were basically at the peak of the heavenly fish realm. Only a few people like Shu Yujun and Xiao Chen could pass the second level without reaching the top heavenly fish realm. Yang Wu and Xiao Chen had a bet, and Yang Wu had no room to retreat. No matter how difficult this level was, he had to try not only to win, but also to train himself. Yang Wu stepped into the formation of the 18 bronze men, and once again, he felt his profound energy being sealed, and 100,000 cauldrons of energy pressing down on his body. At the same time, the bronze man at the very front charged towards him with a combat weapon in hand. The copper man attacked, completely unrestrained by strength. The attack was flashing with copper light, and in an instant it fell on Yang Wu's head. The power of one attack exceeded 100,000 ding, and it could shatter mountains and rivers. The Copper Man's attack could only be described as swift and violent. An ordinary Heavenly Fish Realm warrior would not be able to react in time and would definitely be smashed to death by this attack. These Copper Men did not have the slightest bit of mercy, only endless killing power. After all, Yang Wu was not an ordinary person. He was the #1 Heavenly King. After advancing to the Heavenly Fish Realm, his strength had increased exponentially. He began to pay attention to a solid foundation in the Earth-Sea realm, digging out his potential to the limit. With all kinds of talents, he easily dodged this attack and began to counterattack. The Soldier Fist's straight punch. When he couldn't use his Xianqi, Yang Wu chose the simplest fist skill, the Soldier Fist. This was a simple fist skill that anyone could use. Yang Wu's fist intent was comprehended because of the Soldier Fist. Now, when he used the Soldier Fist again, even if it was just an ordinary fist, it contained earth-shattering power. Bang! Yang Wu thought that this punch would be able to destroy the Copper Man, but when his fist came into contact with the Copper Man, he felt a rebounding force. His hand hurt, and the Copper Man was only pushed back 2 steps. There was a shallow fist mark on the Copper Man's body, but it was not destroyed. It's so hard. Even a peak Heavenly Realm warrior might not be able to break it. Yang Wu sighed in his heart. The moment he forced the Copper Man to retreat, 3 more Copper Men rushed towards him at the same time. They stood in different directions and attacked, forming a triangle to surround Yang Wu. The combat soldiers attacked from different directions. Tripartite formation. The 3 Copper Men formed the tripartite formation. The killing power was not so simple. It completely blocked Yang Wu's retreat. If Yang Wu could not deal with it, he would definitely be killed here. Yang Wu's eyesight was incomparably astonishing. He discovered that the 3 Copper Men's attacks were fierce, but their speed was not as fast as he imagined. At least he could react before their attacks arrived. He continuously punched out. Each punch was incomparably simple, but it contained an incomparably tyrannical power as it struck the Copper Man's body. Yang Wu's attack power had increased by a lot, but it was still only able to leave a faint mark on the Copper Man's body. It was enough to show how hard the Copper Man was. Yang Wu continuously exchanged blows with the 3 Copper Men. These 3 Copper Men were like peerless experts. Every sword and style was incomparably brilliant. If it was not for Yang Wu's fast reaction, he would not have been able to escape their attacks. The tripartite formation was a common formation, but as long as the formation's power was unleashed to the extreme, it would definitely have an extremely powerful combat strength. These 3 Copper Men were like peerless experts as they unleashed their sword skills to the extreme. One move after another, it was endless. Yang Wu continuously staggered their attacks and counterattacked. Every punch was like the roar of a flood dragon. It was so overbearing that it could not be any more overbearing, but he still had no way to destroy them. At this time, another 3 Bronze Men joined the battle, forming the 6 directions array, forcing Yang Wu to have even less space to escape. Not only that, the other Copper Men's empty eyes were looking at him, ready to join the battle at any time. Yang Wu unleashed his strongest attack on these Copper Men, but he was still unable to destroy them. He began to observe these Copper Men, trying to find their weakness. Soon, he found that there was a strange energy at the heart of the Copper Men. The color at that position was more vibrant, and he concluded that it was the Copper Men's weakness. Just as he was about to attack the Copper Men's weakness, he discovered a wonderful phenomenon. These Copper Men were not only standing in a regular pattern, but also shifting positions were very ingenious. Moreover, each Copper Man contained a different sword move. However, each Copper Man only knew one move. Even when they moved, the sword move would change, but back and forth they only used one move. This was a delightful discovery. Yang Wu was very smart, and he quickly understood that each Copper Man contained a sword move. Together with the formation, they could unleash a very powerful force. I will first memorize all their sword moves, and then break them one by one. Yang Wu thought to himself. He felt that the sword moves of the copper men in front of him were extraordinary. He was afraid that they were not as simple as ordinary heavenly skills. Every move contained different changes, and it was not easy to comprehend them. Yang Wu had the divine court Dao flower, and his mental strength was extremely powerful. He forcefully imprinted the copper men's sword moves in his mind. When he memorized the first copper man's move, the copper men changed. 18 copper men attacked at the same time. 18 copper men formation. 18 different sword moves came at him from all directions. Even without profound qi, he could still feel that this was an absolutely earth-shattering move. In an instant, Yang Wu felt extremely suffocated. This was the terrifying part of the 18 copper men formation. Once they all attacked, it would be difficult to stop them. Before breaking through, Uxian had told him that the goal of dealing with this formation was not to destroy these copper men, but to persist here for a quarter of an hour, or to forcefully charge through. Either way, it would be considered a success, and there was no need to compete with these copper men. Uxian had also told him that the copper men would move out one after another during this quarter of an hour. At the end, the 18 copper men would attack at the same time. That was the most dangerous time. Yang Wu could not understand. He had only entered the formation for a while, and it was still far from the quarter of an hour. Why did the 18 copper men move at the same time? Could it be that the copper men's formation has changed because I comprehended the sword skill? Yang Wu secretly thought. At this moment, he did not have time to think too much. The attacks of the 18 copper men were too powerful, and they were airtight. Even if he used the swimming dragon steps, he could not dodge them. He could only fight them head-on. Bang bang! Yang Wu's fists and legs continuously attacked, respectively blocking these attacks, but he still suffered a great loss. Many parts of his body were slashed by the copper swords, and his clothes were torn. If not for his fast reaction, he would have been injured. These attacks were not inferior to the attacks of a top Heaven Realm expert. Just as Yang Wu was in a sorry state, Shu Yujun, Bai Weiming, and the others arrived at the second stage one after another. They were all sweating profusely and were very tired. They had to sit down cross-legged to recover their strength before they could continue to break through the second stage. When they saw that Yang Wu had triggered the 18 copper men to fight, their eyes were wide open, especially Shu Yujun. She knew how powerful these 18 copper men were, and they would usually only attack at the same time in the last 100 breaths of time. Yang Wu should have just broken through the stage, so how could he attract the 18 copper men to attack him at the same time? When they saw Yang Wu continuously withstanding the attacks of the bronze men, they were shocked. They could withstand the attacks of a few bronze men, but when facing 18 of them at the same time, they could only defend. Was there even a chance for them to counterattack? Not only did Yang Wu counterattack, he was also able to dodge the attacks of the 18 copper men. The strength of his body was simply too abnormal. No wonder you can help us fight back in the palace. The title of number 1 Heavenly King is well deserved. Bai Weiming sighed. This is a real man. Shu Yujun exuded a deep affection as she spoke. Could it be that Miss Shu has taken a fancy to him? Can't I? Chapter 586. The 18 bronze men worked together with the formation, multiplying their attack power. Under the situation where they couldn't use their xianqi, even a top heavenly fish realm warrior would lose more than win. At the very least, they could threaten a dragon transformation realm warrior. This was also the reason why so many people had made it to this stage, but only a few had succeeded in the end. Yang Wu couldn't have it as easy as the first stage, but he wasn't in danger yet. If he only defended for 15 minutes, there wouldn't be any problems, but he wasn't willing to do so. He wanted to obtain the sword techniques of these 18 bronze men. I've already memorized the sword technique of the first bronze man. Let's destroy it first. Yang Wu had just observed and memorized the sword technique of the first bronze man. He decided to start with it first. He firmly believed that as long as he could destroy this bronze man, there would be a way to break the formation. At this moment, the 18 bronze men were swinging their swords continuously. Every part of them was in perfect harmony, making it impossible to guard against. Yang Wu was like a swimming dragon. He stuck close to one of the bronze men and slashed with his sword. The clothes in front of his chest were once again cut open. It was truly thrilling. He took the opportunity to gather his strength and get close to the first bronze man. His fist exploded with brute force and heavily smashed into the bronze man's heart. Bang! This punch was full of power. It contained the strength of Yang Wu's barbaric god arm, enough to destroy everything. The bronze man's heart was the weakest. Under this heavy blow, the heart exploded and its body flew backward, knocking down the 2 bronze men behind it. A hole was torn open in the formation of the 18 bronze men, and the pressure on Yang Wu was greatly reduced. No matter how the 17 bronze men worked together, he had a sliver of space to dodge, and was no longer in such a sorry state like before. While dodging, Yang Wu quickly memorized the sword technique of the second bronze man. He leaped into the air and kicked its heart. It lost its ability to fight like the first bronze man. Shu Yujun, Bai Weiming, and Yang Wu, who had rushed over from behind, all stared with wide eyes. They couldn't believe that Yang Wu had such violent strength. "Miss Shu, are your bronze men that weak?" Bai Weiming muttered. Shu Yujun replied, "How could they be weak? Even a dragon transformation realm martial artist wouldn't be able to break them. Even if they hit their weak points, they would have to endure many attacks before exploding. Then how could his strength be so great? It feels like he's even stronger than the Water Demon Clan shark," Bai Weiming said. Yang Hongchang proudly said from the side, "Of course, he is our battle clan's pride. In a bit, you'll know how powerful this Copperman formation is. Even if the War Clan's people were here, they wouldn't be able to withstand it," Shu Yujun said. As they spoke, Yang Wu had already shattered the 5th bronze man. Furthermore, the speed at which he destroyed the bronze men was getting faster and faster. He unleashed all the mental power of the Divine Court Tao Flower and used the Soul Mastery Heart Sutra. He imprinted all the moves of the bronze men into the Tao Flower. None of the sword skills of the bronze men could escape his senses. At this moment, he realized that after the Soul Control Heart Sutra entered the soul body stage, his spiritual energy was almost solid and had extraordinary senses. The formation here sealed his Dantian's profound qi, but it couldn't seal his spiritual energy. So he wasn't like before, slowly memorizing the bronze men's sword techniques. Instead, he imprinted all the bronze men's sword techniques at the same time, saving him a lot of time. Yang Wu became more and more courageous as he fought. His steps were like a swimming dragon, constantly rushing between the bronze men. One bronze man after another was sent flying by his fists, unable to pose any threat. The 8th bronze man was eliminated. The 9th bronze man was eliminated. The 10th bronze man was eliminated. In a single breath, 17 of the 18 bronze men were destroyed. Only one was left. At this time, Bai Luoyun and Xiao Chen passed the first stage and arrived in front of the second stage, just in time to see Yang Wu destroy the last bronze man. Yang Wu stepped on the universe and punched the sun and moon. He was like a fairy descending to the mortal world. His hands were as fast as lightning. Before the bronze man's sword landed on his body, his fist landed on the bronze man's heart, sending the 10,000 cauldron bronze man flying. The 18 bronze men were all eliminated. Yang Wu passed. "My lord is really powerful. I chose to be his follower." Bai Luoyun revealed an expression of worship as he exclaimed. Xiao Chen trembled and said, "This? How is this possible? He must be cheating. If he can cheat here, then it can be considered his ability." Shu Yujun looked at Xiao Chen with disgust and said indifferently, In the past, she thought that Xiao Chen was a good person. Now, his image in her heart was completely destroyed. She didn't even have a good impression of him. At this time, a holy voice rang out, "Past the Battle Bronze Man stage in half an incense stick's time. Record has been broken. Obtained the historical reward, 18 Bronze Man formation diagram." This voice was melodious and mighty. Not only was it heard near the 1,000 mountains, but it could also be heard clearly in the 81 peaks of Mount Heng. Another historical reward. Who was it that broke the records of the first and second stages? This is too fierce. Enough nonsense. Let's go take a look. Could it be that one of our sect's geniuses obtained a great opportunity and went to pass the stage? Too powerful. The historical reward is a holy object. As long as the 18 Bronze Man formation diagram is passed to 18 martial artists of the same level, they can set up an inescapable net and kill opponents of a higher level. It really makes people jealous. Let's go and find out which peak's deacon or disciple is so strong. Since the establishment of the 1,000 mountains, those who could pass the stage were either geniuses or deacons who had cultivated for many years. However, no matter how outstanding they were, they only had 10 chances in their lifetime. The first 3 stages were limited to the Earth-Sea realm and Heavenly Fish realm. The meaning of passing the stages was not only to show off one's talent but also to train one's body. Therefore, everyone would cherish these 10 chances and strive to get the best training while passing the stages or create the best ranking to obtain higher recognition from the sect. Suddenly, someone was able to pass 2 stages in a row, breaking the record and obtaining the historical reward. This was definitely the most shocking thing in the Mount Heng sect in 1,000 years. In the blink of an eye, nearly 1,000 people rushed to the 1,000 mountains. They all wanted to see who had such great ability. In front of the second stage of the 1,000 mountains, Shu Yujun, by Weiming, Yang Hongchang, by Luoyun, and Xiao Chen were all in a state of shock. They couldn't recover for a long time. Yang Wu stood in the middle of the second stage. 18 weak forces gathered towards his forehead and directly entered his divine court Dao flower. 18 Bronze Men formation. A formation diagram formed in his mind and was completely imprinted in his divine court Dao flower. This was a saint formation. As long as a suitable warrior was found to practice this formation, they would be able to display the power of the 18 Bronze Men formation. Accompanying this formation was the mnemonic of the 18 sword forms, called the 18 Bronze Men sword technique. It complemented the 18 Bronze Men formation. Each person only cultivated one sword. As long as they cultivated to the extreme, they would be able to produce sword intent. The sword intents of the 18 swords could be stacked together to form a terrifying sword Dao. The rewards were so generous that even saints would be envious of them. When Yang Wu obtained the 18 Bronze Men formation and the 18 Bronze Men sword technique, the 18 Bronze Men recovered under the power of the formation as if they hadn't been injured at all. Yang Wu smiled with satisfaction and muttered to himself, "The Mount Heng sect is so generous." As soon as he finished speaking, a beam of light fell on him. Without allowing him to resist, he was transferred to the third stage. The third stage was the 1,000 Stone Fall. This was a small space surrounded by saint power. There were pieces of rock placed here, and they also had the power to carry mountains. Qi was still sealed, just like the first and second stages. When Yang Wu arrived at the rocky mound, before he was ready, several rocks were thrown at him. These rocks came at a much faster speed, and the power they contained was incomparably majestic. If anyone was hit, they wouldn't be able to withstand it. After all, Qi couldn't be used here. Without the protection of the heavenly scale armor, it wasn't a joke to only rely on one's physical body. Bang bang! No matter how fast Yang Wu reacted, he was still hit by 2 rocks. His body was smashed to the side, and the pain made him grit his teeth. It felt like the power of a top Heavenly Fish realm expert had hit him. This power was too strong. However, this was just the beginning. In an instant, Dozens of rocks rose into the air and quickly smashed at him again. 1,000 stone fall, so this is what it means! Yang Wu exclaimed and entered a state of alert. He waved his fist at the rocks. When Yang Wu was dealing with the bronze men, he used the soldier fist. However, under such a dense attack of rocks, the soldier fist was completely insufficient. He had to use the barbarian god fist. The barbarian horse fist was very fast. It was like a galloping heavenly horse. It continuously hit the rocks and smashed them into pieces. In the blink of an eye, Yang Wu had smashed the dozens of rocks. Just as he was about to be proud, dozens of rocks fell from the sky like a landslide. The power of a natural disaster was quite terrifying. Yang Wu raised his head and looked. With his sharp eyesight, he clearly grasped the landing point of each stone. He shouted in shock, "You want to do anything to me with these stones? Impossible!" Yang Wu waved the barbarian god arm. The pure power was more terrifying than the chi of an ordinary heavenly fish realm expert. Bang bang! Even if he was carrying the pressure of 100,000 cauldrons, he treated it as nothing. He threw 49 punches in a row and broke 49 rocks. Countless stone fragments splashed everywhere. Under such pressure, he could throw 49 punches, which was almost his limit. The impact of these rocks was very strong, causing the web between his thumb and forefinger to become numb. Before Yang Wu had time to rest, another wave of rocks came crashing down. The number was even more than before. Yang Wu's face turned solemn as he shouted, "They're trying to kill us!" He didn't dodge but continued to throw punches. In fact, he only needed to hold on for 30 minutes to pass this level. He didn't have to destroy these rocks. He could choose to dodge and hold on until the end. However, Yang Wu chose the stupidest way, which was to resist these rocks. Chapter 587. Yang Wu didn't just want to defeat Shao Chen. More importantly, he wanted to temper himself. Ever since he met his cheap master in the Demon Training Palace, he became even more determined to continue training his foundation. With his current strength, he was not even an ant in front of a saint. What right did he have to be proud? Moreover, he still had to return to the mortal world to protect his parents and step into the Purple Cloud Hall and Kunlun. With his current strength, he was still too weak. The 1,000 Mountains Pass in front of him was set up very well. It was a place to train one's physique. Only when one's physique was strong would one be able to erupt with even more power. The first stage only tested one's ability to withstand pressure. The second stage tested one's ability to withstand pressure and battle instincts. The third stage not only tested one's ability to withstand pressure but also one's ability to react. The rocks here were constantly smashing down. The power was extremely tyrannical, making it impossible to guard against. If one could not dodge, one could only resist. If one could not resist, one would either die or be seriously injured. Yang Wu continued to resist. He did not know how many times he had swung his fists, but more and more rocks appeared. His arms were numb from swinging, and in the end, he was unable to shatter them all. Some of the rocks hit him, causing him to be in an extremely sorry state. Come on, who's afraid of who? Yang Wu's anger was aroused and he continued to hit the rocks. Unfortunately, his momentary bravery was of no use. He could not use his Xian Qi and could not shatter the rocks in an instant. It was not easy to shatter the rocks with his bare hand. His fists were covered with blood and his body was hit more than 10 times. Blood flowed from his forehead and seeped into his eyes. He did not look good. It was also after being smashed by these rocks that Yang Wu became clear-headed. He had only thought about tempering his body's strength, but had neglected to observe the flaws of this level. The only thing he could do now was to find the best way to break through, which was also the best tempering for himself. A battle was not something that could be won by brute force. It was best to find the enemy's weakness and kill them with a single strike. Rocks continued to fall from above like raindrops. No matter how Yang Wu dodged, they would always find a place to crash down. If he kept dodging, with his physical strength, it would not be a problem for him to endure for the time it takes for an incense stick to burn. However, this was not the result he wanted. He wanted to break the record and obtain the historical reward. He had obtained 2 epic rewards in a row, which was too tempting for him. If he could break through this stage as quickly as possible, he should be able to obtain another epic reward. These rocks are getting faster and faster, and their power is faintly increasing. I am carrying 100,000 ding of strength, and my movement speed has decreased by more than half. It is already not bad for me to be able to hold on here. It will not be easy for me to launch a counterattack here. I need to find the trick. As Yang Wu thought about this, he dealt with the increasing number of rocks. He stared at the rocks, and the spiritual energy of the divine court Dao flower spread out like a tide. Very quickly, the trajectories of the falling rocks were all imprinted in his mind. Every falling rock was scattered in a picturesque manner, and in the midst of these scattered locations, there was a slight gap, and this gap was the location of the flaw. Others did not have the spiritual energy of Yang Wu, and would definitely not be able to detect the location of the flaw. It was really too difficult to capture. In addition, he also found an item hanging 100 feet above. It was not very obvious, but it was emitting a gentle power. It should be the core of this stage. If he could obtain it, he might be able to obtain the epic reward. Yang Wu pulled himself together again. When a new wave of rocks fell, Yang Wu bent his body and then kicked hard with both feet, bouncing up like a goshawk. Being able to bounce up while carrying 100,000 ding of weight, perhaps even a dragon transformation realm expert would not be able to do so. The moment Yang Wu jumped up, he punched left and right, shattering several rocks. His body landed on a rock he had calculated. Then, he kicked hard and jumped up a rock on the upper left. The rocks were densely packed. If he did not hurry, he would be hit by the rocks at any time. Even if Yang Wu could see the trajectories of the rocks, with 100,000 ding of weight on his back, he could only jump a little more than 3 feet each time. Moreover, in the process of jumping, he had to shatter the rocks in his way, which indirectly increased the difficulty of jumping up with the help of rock. Yang Wu had to use the talent of Wind God's legs to increase his speed. If he made the slightest mistake, he would definitely be buried alive by the other rock. Yang Wu was completely focused. His mental power was completely focused on every rock that came crashing down from above. He mobilized all the strength in his body. Every time he jumped, he would try to land on the best spot. Every time he punched, there would definitely be rocks that would shatter. In 10 breaths of time, Yang Wu had already jumped up to a height of 10 feet. This height was not as light as his usual jump, but in this place where the rocks were falling down together with the pressure of the mountain, jumping up to a height of 10 feet was already very shocking. 20 feet. 30 feet. 40 feet. Every time Yang Wu jumped up a height of 10 feet, the expression on his face became more and more serious. The pressure on his body also increased, and he consumed a lot of strength. Even if he had boundless strength, it was not easy for him to reach a height of 100 feet. When he reached a height of 70 feet, sweat dripped down from his forehead and directly seeped into his eyes, interfering with his vision. His movements paused for a moment, and he cried out in alarm, "Not good!" In an instant, he used all his strength to jump up and try his best to make up for this momentary mistake. However, it was still too late. More than 10 rocks fell down from above him. The speed of the fall was much faster than before. If these rocks fell on Yang Wu would be smashed to the ground. Everything he had done would be in vain. At this critical moment, Yang Wu was unwilling to fail. His divine court Dao flower swayed, and a majestic mental power rushed out, forcibly blocking the falling rocks and creating a breathing space for him. He landed steadily on another rock and used the force to bounce up. He heaved a sigh of relief. That was King close. At the same time, hundreds of rocks fell from above. Just like the name of this pass, the 1,000 Rock Fall lived up to its name. The speed of the falling rocks increased again, almost wiping out the gaps between the rock. Yang Wu could not use the rocks as lightly as before to climb up. Once he stopped, he would still be smashed to the ground by the rocks and buried alive. In an instant, Yang Wu remembered the feeling of using his mental power just now. He no longer hesitated and began to use his mental power to control the speed of the falling rocks to create an opportunity for himself. Mental power was invisible and formless. It was the power of will. Just like a saint, an imperial edict could overturn rivers and seas and kill strong enemies. Yang Wu's mental power was strong enough that even a peak Heaven Realm warrior could not compare to him. After he released this mental power, the falling rocks seemed to be held up by a hand and could not fall quickly. Many flaws appeared in front of Yang Wu's eyes. Yang Wu was not relaxed. In addition to the pressure of his physical body, there was also the pressure of his mental power. He held his breath and quickly rushed up. Whoosh whoosh. Yang Wu unleashed all of his power and rushed up as fast as he could. Finally, he reached a height of 100 zhang and grabbed the hanging thing in his hand. After grabbing it, all of the rocks fell to the ground and no more fell. The pressure on his body disappeared in an instant. A sacred voice resounded, passing the 3rd level of the 1,000 rock fall, breaking the record. You have received the historical reward of 1,000 rock heart. This voice faintly echoed and spread to all the peaks of the Hung Mountain sect. All the disciples and deacons rushed over like crazy. In one day, 3 consecutive records were broken and an historical reward was obtained. This was definitely a situation that had not happened in 1,000 years in the Hung Mountain sect. Who was able to accomplish this feat? Shao Chen, who was still in the second pass, was stunned when he heard this voice. He cried out, "It's definitely not him. It's definitely not him." Shao Chen did not believe that it was Yang Wu who broke the record again. He was not careful and was slashed twice by the bronze man. He was injured badly. Fortunately, he dodged quickly. Otherwise, he would have been killed by the bronze man. I won't lose to that little bastard. I won't lose. Shao Chen's eyes were bloodshot. He was like a beast that had lost its mind. The battle was a mess. Soon, he was seriously injured by the bronze man. If he had not broken the teleportation jade talisman in time, he would have been chopped into meat paste by the bronze man here. Shao Chen failed. Xu Yujun, Bai Weiming, and Yang Hongchang all passed the second stage. Bai Luoyun failed, while Yang Jie and the 5 heroes of the Proud Sword sect were still slowly climbing up in the first stage. In the end, Tang Wen passed the first stage with perseverance. After Tang Wen passed the first pass, the pressure on him was greatly reduced. He actually had the opportunity to break through the heavenly fish realm. He was overjoyed. After he recovered, he tried to pass the second pass but failed. This group of people used the teleportation jade talisman one after another to return to the bottom of the first pass. Xu Yujun, Bai Wuming, and Yang Hongchang continued to pass the third pass. In the end, Xu Yujun and Yang Hongchang both persisted for half an hour and passed the third pass. Bai Wuming was one step away and did not pass. He was from the water tribe and was more suitable for water battles. He was still a little lacking in land battles. After Xu Yujun and Yang Hongchang passed the third pass, they looked quite embarrassed. They were not in the mood to pass the fourth pass. They used the teleportation jade talisman to return to the bottom of the pass. Hey, why didn't Yang Wu come back? Xu Yujun looked at the people present and asked in surprise. Yang Hongchang smiled and said, "That guy didn't go to the fourth pass, did he? Impossible. If you don't reach the dragon transformation realm, you can't pass the fourth pass. Otherwise, you will die." Shao Chen, who was seriously injured, roared unwillingly. At this moment, a divine sound rang out, "Pass the fourth pass, Sacred Might pass," broke the record, and received the historical reward of a holy chi source. Chapter 588. The sacred sound was ethereal, and everyone could hear it clearly. Everyone from the Hung Mountain sect was stunned. Even the elders who were in seclusion quickly rushed towards the 1,000 mountains. Shocking auras filled the sky. These were at least Dragon Transformation Realm experts, and there were at least 100 or 200 of them. Each of them had a shocking aura and possessed extraordinary combat strength. There was even holy aura floating in the hidden space. It was incomparably shocking. There were 9 stages in the 1,000 mountains, and each stage was more difficult than the last. Those who could pass were all outstanding prodigies. However, there were very few people who could continuously break records and receive historical rewards. Those who had received historical rewards before were all once famous seniors of the Hung Mountain sect. However, not many of them could do what they did today, breaking multiple records in one go. Many of them had broken a record and received an historical reward. The number of people who could receive 4 historical rewards could not be counted on one hand. After all, it was not easy for every prodigy to set a record. Those who came after had to break the record left behind by their predecessors to receive an historical reward. From this, it could be seen how difficult it was to break a record and receive an historical reward. Many elders from the Hung Mountain sect came to the front of the 1,000 Mountains Pass. An elegant elder with a strong aura looked at the prodigies present and his gaze landed on Shu Yujun. He asked with a faint smile, "Yujun, did you pass these 4 passes consecutively and obtain the historical reward?" Shu Yujun smiled bitterly. "Elder Lu, you must be joking. If I had this ability, my father would have praised me to the heavens." "That's true. Child, your talent is not bad. If you reach the peak of the heavenly fish realm, you might have a chance to pass 4 stages in a row. However, if you want to break the record and receive an historical reward, you're still a little lacking." Elder Lu said honestly. "Elder Lu, I'm not as bad as you say," Shu Yujun said unhappily. Elder Lu did not reply. Instead, he smiled and asked, "There are so many of you here. You must know who broke the record of 4 stages in a row, right? I also want to know when our Hung Mountain produced such a monster. We need to nurture him well," a tall and mighty elder said in a loud voice. "I don't think it's a young person. It might be someone who's about to break through to the Dragon Transformation Realm." He held his breath and passed the stages consecutively just for today's reward. Another elder said, "If that's the case, then even a quasi-dragon transformation realm cultivator might not be able to break the record of 4 stages in a row. They don't have that kind of vigor." Most of these dragon transformation realm elders looked middle-aged. Some of them were elderly, and a few were still very young. They gathered together, forming a large force in the sky above them. There was a faint trace of a little saint's might. The dragon transformation realm was the process of the heavenly fish transforming into a dragon. At the same time, it was also known as the small saint realm. They were all potential saints in the future. Among so many people, perhaps only a few had the chance to become a true saint. Although minor saint and true saint seemed to be only one step away from each other, it had blocked the path of many people. It was extremely difficult to cross this hurdle. Once they reached the Dragon Transformation Realm, they would become elders of the Hung Mountain sect regardless of age. They were the elite foundation of the Hung Mountain sect. Only with them could a large sect continue to grow and develop. At their level, it was impossible for ordinary things to disturb them. Now they were shocked by a guy who broke the record 4 times. The person who passed the 4th stage was none other than Yang Wu. After Yang Wu passed the 3rd stage, he was not satisfied and decided to continue. He threw his bet with Shao Chun to the back of his mind. There was nothing more important than training himself. The 4th stage was the Sacred Might stage. This stage was the same as Yang Wu's master's Sacred Might in the Demon Taming Hall. As long as he could resist the Sacred Might and walk to the designated spot, he would pass. After Yang Wu endured his master's Sacred Might stage once, it was easier for him to face the Sacred Might stage of the 1,000 Mountains. That was why he could break the record and obtain the historical reward. After passing this stage, Yang Wu did not immediately move forward. Instead, he refined and swallowed the sacred qi source on the spot. The sacred qi source was a ball of flawless sacred might. It was extremely rare for a dragon transformation realm warrior. Anyone who saw it would fight for it. Refining it into the sacred qi source was equivalent to years of hard work. It could quickly increase one's cultivation and power. This time, Yang Wu did not refine the sacred qi source into his dantian. Instead, he used immortal qi to devour the sacred qi. Then, he poured it on the green sprout and made it grow. This mass of Saint Qi was so powerful that even a top heavenly fish realm cultivator would not be able to swallow it all at once. It would be very easy for them to explode from this power. Only when they reached the dragon transformation realm could they refine and absorb it without wasting it. Yang Wu swallowed this sacred qi source. His body seemed to be steaming with white mist. His body emitted bursts of multicolored light, making him look extremely sacred. Even though the immortal qi had swallowed a large amount of sacred qi source, a portion of it was still absorbed by the highest 9 mysteries formula to strengthen his power. The heavenly fish in his dantian opened its mouth wide and absorbed this power to its heart's content. The divine court Dao flower also poured the sacred qi onto the flower through the heaven and earth mysterious bridge. When Yang Wu's power was strengthened by many forces, his expression changed drastically. He thought to himself, D*eminent, I was too reckless. He had thought that no matter how powerful the sacred qi source was, it would be completely absorbed by the immortal qi. However, the highest 9 mysteries formula still absorbed a portion of it, forcibly increasing his strength. This was definitely not the result Yang Wu wanted. He wanted to improve step by step. There was no benefit in improving too quickly. This was what Little Hay had once told him. The more solid his foundation was, the more complete each realm was. This was the best way to break through. Even though the sacred qi source was a flawless power, it was still an external force. It was not the sacred qi that he had cultivated himself. There would still be some hidden dangers for him. The heavenly fish in his dantian was growing. It kept breathing in and out power. The full moon hanging high in the sky emitted a dazzling power. A large amount of celestial qi from the eye of the earth sea rushed to the heaven and earth mysterious bridge, constantly strengthening the power of every part of Yang Wu's body. No, if this continues, I'm afraid I'll directly break through to the mid-level heavenly fish realm. Now is not the time. I need to vent all this power. Yang Wu gritted his teeth and shouted. He rushed toward the 5th level. The 5th level was like a besieged city. The 4 ancient walls formed a space. There were bloodstains on the walls. The smell of blood permeated the air. There were also waves of roars coming from there. Yang Wu didn't have time to care about these details. He rushed into the besieged city. The moment he rushed into the city, a terrifying power blasted toward him. He didn't have time to dodge. He was hit by the power and his body was sent flying. PFFF. This power could only be displayed by a half-step pristine saint. Otherwise, it wouldn't be able to make Yang Wu vomit blood. The one who launched the attack was a fierce gray rat with scarlet eyes. Its body was the size of 2 people. The gray fur on its body stood up, and it kept making squeaking sounds. Other than this fierce gray rat, there were dozens of different ferocious beasts. There were lion ferocious beasts, tiger ferocious beasts, and even earth dragon ferocious beasts. They were constantly killing each other. The power that erupted from the battle was extremely terrifying. Even a beginner dragon transformation realm cultivator would be able to kill his way out. A message flashed across Yang Wu's mind. He would pass if he persisted for an hour. Roar. At this moment, a ferocious beast with the head of a tiger and the body of an ox rushed over. Its 4 hooves were like burning clouds as it stomped toward Yang Wu's head. Yang Wu kept his mind clear. He quickly dodged. He felt that he could use his xian qi. However, the gravity of Fu Shan still didn't disappear. It greatly limited his speed. These ferocious beasts weren't affected by the gravity. Moreover, their cultivation realm was higher than his. It was simply too easy for them to kill him. Yang Wu just dodged the attack of the ferocious beast with the head of a tiger and the body of an ox. The fierce gray rat rushed over again. It bared its fangs and bit toward Yang Wu's big foot. Its speed was really astonishing. In addition, another ferocious python that was hiding rushed out. It lashed out with its brightly colored snake tail. It wanted to sweep Yang Wu away and compete with the fierce gray rat for food. It was extremely dangerous. Yang Wu was in a state where his strength was surging. His body wasn't listening to him. He was ruthlessly whipped by the snake tail. Then, the fierce gray rat bit off a large piece of his flesh. If it wasn't for the snake tail whipping him, he would have been eaten by this vicious gold rat. The feeling of pain stimulated Yang Wu's nerve. The blood in his body boiled. His battle intent was completely activated. The Tao of Death formed a terrifying aura. A majestic energy was released from his body. He roared, "Kill!" At this moment, Yang Wu had entered a state of intense slaughter. The Tao of Death began to deprive the ferocious beasts of their vitality and weaken their battle prowess. Yang Wu took advantage of the situation. His fist that contained the Tao of Death blasted toward the fierce gray rat. Bull fist. A terrifying bull crashed into the fierce gray rat and smashed into its body. It was only smashed 3 meters away. It wasn't enough to kill it with one punch. However, the strong power of the Tao of Death corroded its body. In an instant, 1/3 of its vitality was taken away, and its battle prowess was greatly reduced. Just as Yang Wu was about to kill it in one fell swoop, another 3 ferocious beasts pounced on him at the same time. The snake beast, the tiger beast, and the ape beast were all big guys full of ferocious chi. When they suddenly saw a foreign creature, their goal was surprisingly the same. They all wanted to devour Yang Wu. When they approached Yang Wu, they were immediately affected by the death aura. Their vitality shrank, and their battle prowess decreased. However, their ferocious chi wasn't affected at all. They continued to attack Yang Wu. Yang Wu entered a state of rampage. His wind god's legs were filled with holy chi. His barbaric god's arm was also filled with holy chi. The power of his 2 talents reached the extreme. He punched the snake beast and kicked the tiger ape. Kill! 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 Chapter 589. In front of the 1,000 mountains, Yang Jie, the 5 heroes and the others all retreated. They didn't pass the first round, but they also gained a lot and stimulated some of their potential. As long as they paid more attention to cultivating their physique in the future, they would definitely pass this round. After meditating and resting for a while, they recovered and listened to the discussion about Yang Wu. When the elders and deacons of the Heng Mountain sect heard that the person who broke the record of 4 rounds wasn't a disciple of the Heng Mountain sect, their faces turned ugly. Even if they belonged to a righteous sect and were broad-minded, it was a disgraceful thing to be defeated by an outsider in front of their own sect. Yujun, what you said just now wasn't a joke? The refined elder Lu asked Shu Yujun. Shu Yujun spread out her hands. Why would I joke about this? If you don't believe me, you can ask junior brother Uxian. He just came back from the Heaven King ranking battle and knows more about Martial Heavenly King. Let him tell you. Quickly come over and tell me about Martial Heavenly King's background. Elder Lu pointed at Uxian. Uxian didn't dare to hide anything and told Elder Lu everything he knew about Yang Wu. Yang Hongchang smiled proudly. Our Yang clan's disciples are outstanding no matter where they go. Yang Jie sighed. They're all disciples of the Yang clan, why is the difference so big? Yang Jie, go back and work hard. You still have a chance to be half as outstanding as Yang Wu. Yang Hongchang said sincerely. Yang Jie rolled his eyes and said, Your realm and strength are higher than Martial Heavenly King. Why aren't you half as outstanding as him? Yang Jie, Do you feel that seventh uncle has been too easy to talk to recently? Why don't seventh uncle give you some pointers? Forget it. When Martial Heavenly King comes out, it's more suitable for you to give him pointers. Is Yang Wu really from the Yang clan? Elder Lu asked Yu Xian again. I'm not sure. Martial Heavenly King is from the great Xia dynasty of Mount Amei. Yu Xian said with certainty. Elder Lu's gaze turned slightly and he revealed a mysterious expression. That means he's not from the Yang clan? Yu Xian nodded. Probably not. Haha, good, very good. Elder Lu suddenly laughed loudly. No one knew what he was laughing at. Only Yang Hongchang understood what this smile meant. He thought to himself, you want to snatch my Yang family's children? How could it be so easy? The 5th level Beast Arena. This test was even more dangerous than the previous 4 tests. The slightest carelessness would result in him becoming food for the ferocious beasts, and he wouldn't even have the chance to shatter the teleportation jade talisman. Without reaching the dragon transformation realm, almost no one dared to step into this stage. Even though they were able to use the profound essence qi at this stage, they were still suppressed by the gravity of Fushan. Their combat strength was greatly reduced, making it difficult for them to unleash their full strength. Therefore, even though most of these beasts were at the level of half-step minor saint, their threat was equivalent to that of a minor saint. On this battlefield, Yang Wu's Tao of Death was fully unleashed. Any beast that got close to him would have their life force weakened and their combat strength decreased by a lot. This was equivalent to Yang Wu carrying a mountain of gravity. They were completely even. However, there was one thing that didn't change. When Yang Wu's Tao of Death was injected into his combat skills, once he injured the ferocious beasts, their life force would be rapidly depleted, and their combat strength would plummet. Ever since Yang Wu used the Tao of Death once in the fragmented space, he basically didn't use it at all. Now, he could finally slaughter to his heart's content. Every martial Tao had a different combat strength. The Tao of Death was one of the top martial Taos among the 3,000 martial Taos. Yang Wu had just comprehended the entry level of the Tao of Death, but it was already enough for him. After entering this berserk state, he had further comprehended the power of the Tao of Death. It could deprive any living being of their life force and soul, and it could also increase the lethality of his combat skills. After many ferocious beasts were injured by him, the energy of the Tao of Death eroded their life force, reducing their combat strength, and they were easily killed by him. The ferocious beasts here were extremely ferocious and weren't afraid of death. Under the shroud of his death aura, they still attacked him fiercely. Yang Wu was continuously affected by the attacks of the ferocious beasts and was injured in many places. Spots of blood stained his body, and even his bones could be seen. He looked extremely miserable. He had a powerful physique, but he was still so severely injured, let alone others. Yang Wu's combat blood boiled, and his combat instincts rose sharply. He fused his soul and body and activated the chaotic heavenly armor art. This was a combat skill that could increase one's defensive strength. It originated from the Hung Mountain sect and was obtained from the Demon Taming Hall. Now that he was using it in battle, the heavenly scale armor that he originally possessed at the heavenly fish realm began to change. The scales became denser, and the scales seemed to have solidified. They became tougher, and his defensive strength at least doubled. While he was activating the chaotic heavenly armor art, he used the swimming dragon steps that had entered the proficient stage and shuttled through the attacks of the ferocious beasts to reduce the damage. He also released the ice blade wings. Swoosh, swoosh. The ice blade wings were like peerless divine blades. Wherever they slashed, the heads and limbs of the ferocious beasts would be severed. They were in so much pain that they began to roar, roar, roar. Under Yang Wu's all-out effort, 7 or 8 ferocious beasts were killed. This was already a very glorious and dazzling achievement. However, this wasn't enough for Yang Wu. He only had one thought in his mind, and that was to obtain the historical reward. This was his goal. Soul Eye Extermination. Yang Wu unleashed his innate potential. A ferocious beast flew over in front of him and was struck by the power of the Soul Eye. Formless soul power entered its beast core, and the soul power was like a blade that directly extinguished most of its soul power. It screeched and fell. He immediately followed up and caught this ferocious beast. He used his hands to tear it apart, and the ferocious beast was torn in half. Dripping blood splattered all over his body. At this moment, he was like a war god. He had completely forgotten the pain on his body. He looked at the ferocious beasts that were constantly charging over. He took the initiative to use the path of death, and then he used the ice blade wings. After that, he divided his attention and used the barbarian god's arm and wind god's leg repeatedly. In a few blinks of an eye, several ferocious beasts were killed by him. Everything wasn't over yet. This was just the beginning. At the beginning, Yang Wu had a hard time dealing with the ferocious beasts. However, when he unleashed his full power, these ferocious beasts were like lambs waiting to be punished. They became less of a threat. In the time it took for a stick of incense to burn, more than half of the ferocious beasts were killed. During the process of the battle, Yang Wu was still attacked. However, his mixed-scale armor blocked most of the attacks, and the injuries he suffered were reduced by a lot. With the help of his strengthened immortal chi, he quickly recovered. It was also during the process of the battle that Yang Wu's abundant Saint Chi was released. However, there was still a lot of energy that entered his dantian. His strength didn't decrease, but instead increase. However, after this round of slaughter, the pure energy that was converted was much more solid. In fact, with the ability of his peach core dantian, no matter how much energy entered, it could be purified and turned into the most stable and solid energy. However, no matter how much energy there was, the strength of his body wouldn't be enough. He still couldn't reach the level of perfection that Little Hay wanted. His cheap master also had the same philosophy. Everything had to be pursued to the limit of perfection. Only then could one be the best among the warriors of the same level. In less than a quarter of an hour, most of the ferocious beasts were killed by Yang Wu. The remaining 2 or 3 ferocious beasts were so frightened by Yang Wu's way of death that they didn't even have the courage to attack. At this moment, Yang Wu's death aura had become much more solid. All the death chi of the ferocious beasts that died here was absorbed by him. His understanding of the way of death seemed to have improved. He walked to the front of the last 3 ferocious beasts. With an indifferent look on his face, he raised his hand and slapped 3 times. The 3 heads were smashed apart, revealing the beast cores inside. The corpses fell into a pool of blood. Dozens of ferocious beasts had all died in the siege. The ground was littered with their corpses and limbs. The ground was stained red with blood. There were also mottled marks on the siege. The young man who was covered in blood stood on top of a ferocious beast's corpse, displaying an invincible and heroic aura. A sacred voice rang out, "You have passed the 5th stage of the ferocious beast battle arena. You have broken the record. You are rewarded with a piece of heavenly dragon jade plate, a full set of minor saint armor, a rising dragon pill, and a chi-tempering stone." As the voice fell, an ancient jade plate, a set of top-grade minor saint armor, a round pill, and an inconspicuous stone fell in front of Yang Wu. Compared to the sacred items from the previous 4 stages, the rewards from the 5th stage were much more generous and had a greater significance. The heavenly dragon jade plate was a jade plate that only the most outstanding geniuses in the transcendent realm could possess. They were all monstrous geniuses from various sects or had reached the pinnacle of the dragon transformation realm. They were experts with boundless battle prowess. There were only 10,000 of these plates in the transcendent realm. Every 50 years, the plates would be reshuffled and the peerless geniuses of the dragon transformation realm would compete again. It was rumored that when these 10,000 heavenly dragon jade plates were gathered together, they would be able to open a sacred ground and compete for the opportunity to become a saint. Before this, the Heavenly King ranking competition in the Broken Space was just the beginning of the Heavenly Dragon ranking competition. The Heavenly Dragon ranking and Heavenly Phoenix ranking had entered a new 50-year countdown. In other words, possessing a piece of Heavenly Dragon jade plate meant that one had half a foot into becoming a saint. It was a sacred plate that others would break their heads to obtain. There were countless geniuses in the Transcendent Realm and countless people in the Heavenly Fish Realm and Dragon Transformation Realm. These 10,000 Heavenly Dragon jade plates might seem like a lot, but in reality, it was difficult to satisfy the needs of the various sects, let alone the entire Transcendent Realm. Every time a Heavenly Dragon jade plate appeared, it would cause a bloodbath. The people outside the Thousand Mountains were all shocked. The reward for the 5th stage is actually a Heavenly Dragon jade plate? Did I hear wrongly? Who's challenging the 5th stage? I think it's definitely not Yang Wu. He's only in the Heavenly Fish Realm. It's impossible for him to reach the 5th stage. It might be a senior brother from our sect. Otherwise, it's impossible for him to pass the 5th stage and obtain the reward. The Heavenly Dragon jade plate has appeared. A new round of the Heavenly Dragon ranking and Heavenly Phoenix ranking is about to begin. It's really enviable. The Heavenly Dragon jade plate must not fall into the hands of outsiders. Chapter 590. The value of the Heavenly Dragon jade tablet was not to be underestimated. 4 warriors below the Saint Realm, it was not something any sacred object could compare to. With it, one would have the opportunity to become a saint. This was something that would drive people crazy. Other than the Heavenly Dragon jade tablet, the minor saint armor was also a top-grade item. It was only one step away from becoming a true saint armor. Every part of it was made to perfection. Wearing it would definitely make one look extraordinary. Warriors below the saint realm would not be able to easily injure someone wearing such an armor. This minor saint battle armor wasn't just a simple battle armor. It also had a helmet, arm guards, and knee guards. It was a complete set of battle armor that could protect every part of the body. Its value was several times higher than an ordinary battle armor. The Rising Dragon Pill was a minor saint pill. It was a pill that could directly increase one's dragon transformation realm. For any dragon transformation realm warrior, it was extremely precious. At the Dragon Transformation Realm, it was extremely difficult to increase one's cultivation level. With the Rising Dragon Pill, it would be much easier. In order to concoct a minor saint pellet, one had to concoct 10 minor saint herbs and 1 saint nucleus, as well as hundreds of different herbs. Moreover, it was easy to fail when concocting such a high-level pellet. A Rising Dragon pellet could be concocted through several sets of Rising Dragon pellet. Its value could only be higher than a minor saint armor. The Qi-quenching stone had an extraordinary effect. It could quench and purify the Xian Qi of heaven and earth and increase the quality of the absorbed Xian Qi. Any warrior who absorbed Xian Qi of heaven and earth would be accompanied by some mottled Qi that would affect the purity of the Xian Qi. Especially after reaching the celestial fish realm, the amount of Xian Qi of heaven and earth would increase exponentially. Not to mention the dragon transformation realm, the more Xian Qi of heaven and earth one absorbed, the more mottled Qi there would be. This would cause the Xian Qi in one's body to become impure. The combat power one could unleash would not be the strongest, and it would also affect one's breakthrough to a higher realm. This was also the reason why many people found it harder to increase their realm after reaching a certain realm. The Qi-quenching stone could purify Xian Qi of heaven and earth. Although there was no way to purify it by 100%, being able to purify it by 70% was already a very good thing for many people. The Qi-quenching stone was very rare and hard to find. It was listed as a minor saint material. However, Yang Wu had the peach core dantian, which could remove any mottled Qi 100% of the time. This Qi-quenching stone was of little value to him. Yang Wu still did not understand the use of the Heavenly Dragon Jade Tablet, but he knew the other 3 items. He happily put them away and said with satisfaction, the Mount Hing sect's reward is quite generous. At this time, an old voice sounded. Of course, you got the holy item that even our Mount Hing disciples couldn't get. You should be content. Who? Yang Wu exclaimed. He couldn't sense anyone's presence. He looked around, but he didn't see anyone. He was at a loss. He thought to himself, could it be that the people of the Mount Hing sect don't want me to take these things away? You don't have to look. I'm the guard of the 1,000 Mountains Pass. You can't see me. Then what do you want? Do you still want to continue? Yang Wu hesitated for a moment before replying, I won't. He knew when to stop and didn't plan to continue. He was sure that the 6th pass was more than 10 times more terrifying than the 5th. He didn't think that he could safely pass it with his current strength. Unless he reached the advanced heavenly fish realm or above, he could try. Currently, his strength had increased to the late stage of the elementary heavenly fish realm. If he hadn't released a large amount of power, he would have broken through to the intermediate heavenly fish realm. At least you know your place, the old voice said with a trace of praise. He paused and said, You're not a disciple of the Mount Hing sect, but you passed the 5 passes of the 1,000 Mountains Pass and broke the record. This doesn't seem good. Yang Wu felt a chill. He said with a worried expression, You don't want me to return all the rewards, do you? How can I take back the gifts I've given out? Then what do you want? I see that your battle talent is extraordinary, but you haven't been able to use your potential to its fullest. It can be said that you've wasted your talent. It's clear that you haven't been taught by a master and have grown up by yourself. This saint wants to ask if you're willing to stay in the Mount Hing sect and become a true disciple of my sect. Only a true saint had the qualifications to call themselves a saint. This person in front of him was a true saint. Yang Wu had seen the scene of a saint making a move. This scene could be said to be earth-shattering and earth-shattering. If one could become a disciple of a saint, that would be the dream of any young martial artist, even in the transcendent world. Yang Wu sighed and said, Many thanks for Sir's kindness. It's a pity that I already have a master and can't join another sect. You dare lie? The saint shouted in dissatisfaction. A majestic saint pressure pressed down on Yang Wu. Yang Wu immediately couldn't breathe. He had already experienced this feeling in the Saint Might Pass. This little one doesn't dare lie. Yang Wu said seriously. What sect are you from? Who is your master? I'm from the Heavenly Palace. My master is too mysterious. I don't know what to call him. The Heavenly Palace has already been destroyed. How could there be a disciple? I don't know. That's what my cheap master said. Yang Wu shrugged. The saint calmed down and didn't speak for a long time. When he spoke again, he sighed softly and said, Forget it, you can leave. Remember, if you meet a disciple of my Mount Hing sect in trouble in the future, you must help. Without waiting for Yang Wu to agree, a wave of energy swept over Yang Wu. Yang Wu felt the teleportation jade tablet on his body shatter and he disappeared. When he came back to his senses, he was already outside the 1,000 Mountains Pass. Yang Wu, martial heavenly king. When the crowd saw Yang Wu appear, those who knew him all cried out in surprise. In that instant, thousands of pairs of eyes fell on Yang Wu. Yang Wu's entire body felt unnatural. He lightly scratched the back of his head and said, What's going on? He still didn't realize that breaking the record of 5 passes in a row would cause a huge commotion in the Mount Hing sect. Shu Yujun rushed to Yang Wu's side. A burst of fragrance rushed into Yang Wu's nostrils. Her proud part was almost pressed against Yang Wu's chest. She lightly opened her jade lips and asked, Were you the one who broke the record? Her words were what everyone was thinking. Those pairs of eyes were filled with complicated emotions. There was anticipation, disdain, and ridicule. Only those who knew Yang Wu felt that this might be something that Yang Wu had done. Those who didn't know Yang Wu didn't think that this was something that he had done. Yang Wu was about to speak when the elder called Lu Mansion said, "Yu Jun, this isn't something that he can do." Another elder said, "Yes, definitely not. He's only at the beginner level of the heavenly fish realm. He's not qualified to break the record of 5 passes in a row. It should be someone else. This young man is not bad. He should be able to pass the second pass. It's already difficult to pass the third pass, let alone break the record." "I think so too. Let's wait and see." The elders of the Mount Hing sect didn't believe that Yang Wu could break through 5 passes and break the record with just the beginner level of the heavenly fish realm. Everyone denied it. Yang Wu was too lazy to explain. He looked at Xiao Chun and smiled. "Have you passed the third pass?" Before Xiao Chun could answer, Yang Hongchang said from the side, "He came out of the second pass." Yang Hongchang's words were full of ridicule. He said, "came out" and not "passed," which made everything clear. Then have you passed the third pass?" Xiao Chun asked with an ashen face. Regardless of whether Yang Wu passed the third pass or not, he lasted longer than you. "You lost this bet," Yang Hongchang said with certainty. Bai Luoyun echoed from the side, "That's right. My lord has won. Take out the stakes." Xiao Chun was very unwilling, but he couldn't refute. He could only take out the turtle-patterned stone and throw it at Yang Wu. He then turned around to leave. Today, he wanted to make Yang Wu lose face, but he failed. Instead, he lost all his face. "Wait, did I say you could leave?" Yang Wu's voice rang out. Xiao Chun stopped and turned around to look at Yang Wu. "What else do you want?" "The bet isn't over yet," Yang Wu said indifferently. Xiao Chen's expression changed. The expressions of the people around him also turned ugly. On the contrary, Yang Hongchang, Yang Jie, and the 5 heroes of the proud sword sect all had mocking smiles. "Don't go too far. This is Mount Hing, not some other place," Xiao Chun said with a heavy tone. The people around Xiao Chun said, "That's right. You are only our Mount Hing sect's guest. Please don't make a mistake." Someone else said, "As a guest, you have to have the bearing of a guest. Don't think that a guest can bully the master." These people all revealed a strong hostility towards Yang Wu. It seemed that if Yang Wu didn't agree, they would attack Yang Wu. "I don't care where this is. I only know that you can't leave if you haven't fulfilled the bet you owe me." Yang Wu ignored the hostility and said indifferently. Then he looked at Shu Yujun and said, "Miss Shu, you decide on this matter. If you say that it's over, then I won't pursue this matter. You're just a petty person who doesn't keep his word." Shu Yujun revealed a troubled expression, but her gaze still fell on Xiao Chun in the end. She said indifferently, "Xiao Chun, you won't let people from Mount Hing say that we're petty people who don't keep our word, right?" Xiao Chun's eyes burned. He clenched his fists and asked, "Junior Shu, you also want to help him?" "I'll keep my word," Shu Yujun replied indifferently. Okay, I'll keep my word," Xiao Chun said disappointedly. Then he looked at Yang Wu and shouted, "I'm a pig! I'm a pig! I'm a pig!" The people around them didn't know what was going on. When they heard this shout, they were completely stunned. Xiao Chun quickly turned around and left. He cursed in his heart, "I'll return this humiliation 10 times over." Chapter 591. After Xiao Chun left, Yu Xian quietly went to Yang Wu's side and asked, "Martial Heavenly King, were you the one who broke the 5 records?" Yang Wu smiled, neither admitting nor denying. He said, "Let's go back and rest. Tomorrow we'll prepare for weapon refinement." Shu Yujun walked over and asked, "Yang Wu, which stage did you pass?" The first and second stage records were broken by Yang Wu. She didn't see the last 3 stages, but she always felt that it had something to do with Yang Wu. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so coincidental that someone broke the last 3 stages. "It's whatever stage you think it is. I don't care," Yang Wu replied, then said to the people beside him, "Let's go back." The elders of the Mount Hing sect didn't think he was the one who broke the 5 records, so he didn't bother to explain. It was always good to keep a low profile. Lin Huang of the Sunset Peak walked over and said with a smile, Yang Wu, the first 2 records were broken by you. A grain of 1,000-layered sand is enough to raise your weapon by a grade. With the addition of the tortoise vein stone, it won't be a problem to forge a lesser saint weapon. I suggest you start as soon as possible. To forge a lesser saint weapon, we'll need at least a few days to finish. Lin Huang's attitude was clearly much more enthusiastic than before. It was obvious that Yang Wu could break the 2 records with his current strength, which was already very outstanding. Okay, there's no time to lose. Let's settle the matter of weapon refinement first. Yang Wu straightforwardly replied. Okay, then let's talk as we walk. Lin Huang replied. Thus, Yang Wu followed Lin Huang to the Sunset Peak. It was a main peak that focused on weapon refinement and alchemy. Below this main peak there was an earth-fire vein. It was a holy land for martial artists who cultivated fire-profound qi. It could quickly increase one's firepower, which was very useful for weapon refinement and alchemy. This peak was facing the west, and at this moment, the sun was setting in the west. The gentle rays of the setting sun sprinkled on the Sunset Peak, illuminating it red. Many rays of the setting sun's power could be faintly seen falling towards the Sunset Peak, directly pouring into the earth-fire vein. Lin Huang pointed at the setting sun peak and said, Every time the sun sets in the west, a large amount of the sun's power is absorbed by the earth-fire vein, providing an endless supply of fire energy to our setting sun peak. If it weren't for the sacred elders sealing off the majority of the earth-fire vein's power, our setting sun peak would have become a volcanic crater that could explode at any time. It is precisely because of this geographical advantage that we are able to draw upon the power of the earth-fire and continuously refine higher-grade weapons. You great sects have a lot of resources, Yang Wu sighed, then asked. I heard that the alchemy division is also at setting sun peak? Lin Huang nodded and said, Yes, this is another branch of Sunset Peak. However, there are even fewer alchemists than there are artifact refiners. Many times we have to ask them for help. Yang Wu could hear from Lin Huang's words that he seemed to have some complaints about the alchemy division. Shu Yujun chuckled from the side and said, The profession of artifact refinement and alchemy are both extremely noble, but the alchemy division has always firmly held onto the position of Peak Master. Lin Huang said, I respect the Peak Master very much, but the others are just like that. He then changed the topic and said, Yang Wu, what kind of weapon do you want to refine? If it's a heaven weapon, I can refine it for you. If it's a minor saint weapon, I'm still a bit lacking. Moreover, the remuneration is different. Yang Wu pondered for a moment and said, I want to refine an original battle weapon. It would be best if it could reach the level of a minor saint weapon. He then asked, How will the remuneration be calculated? Lin Huang glanced at Shu Yujun and said with a smile, For junior sister Shu's sake, if it's a heaven weapon, you can provide the materials yourself. We won't take any remuneration. However, for a minor saint weapon, you will need to ask a senior brother from the peak to refine it. I won't be able to refine it by myself. In addition to providing the main materials, you will also need to provide an additional minor saint weapon of equal value in exchange for my senior brother's help. I will provide his remuneration. Shu Yujun immediately agreed. She then added, He saved my life before. Consider it my repayment to him. You've already repaid me. Yang Wu looked at Shu Yujun and said. Shu Yujun smiled sweetly and said, No, my life is more precious than anything else. In our Hung Mountain, if I can't help you with something like this, I would have let down my benefactor. Without waiting for Yang Wu to speak, Lin Huang continued, Since junior sister Shu has said so, then let's not talk about remuneration. Yang Wu was happy to save himself the trouble. He cupped his hands in thanks and said, Then I'll have to trouble you. Soon, their group arrived at setting sun peak. The temperature here was clearly much higher than other places. Bai Weiming, Bai Luoyun, and the others immediately felt uncomfortable. They were members of the water race and hated places with dense firepower. Shu Yujun sensed their strangeness and wanted to persuade them to return to Gazing River Peak to rest. However, they insisted on going to see the refining site. Setting Sun Peak was divided into two factions. The left side was where the alchemy faction lived and cultivated. There were waves of medicinal fragrance that filled the air. The right side belonged to the tool refining faction. There were many sounds of forging that rang out incessantly. Lin Huang led them quickly up the mountain path, heading towards the mountainside. Soon, they arrived at the tool refining pavilion. This was a 9-story tall tower. It was the place where the elders of the tool refining faction usually gathered and discussed matters. It was also the symbol of the tool refining peak. This tower was built with special characteristics. Each floor was 9 zhang tall, reaching a height of 810 zhang. The walls of the tower were suffused with a golden copper color, appearing extremely dazzling. The left and right eaves were like various weapons. They were like swords, blades, and even saw teeth. From afar, it looked more like a battle soldier pagoda. In fact, it was indeed a battle soldier pagoda. It was a sacred weapon that guarded the peak. Once, when the evil race attacked Mount Hung, this pagoda, under the control of the 9 sacred elders, erupted with an extremely terrifying power. It suppressed a top sacred demon and crushed it into a pool of blood. Therefore, it was also called the Demon Sealing Pagoda. Yang Wu stood in front of the tool refining pavilion. He could feel a chill, as if as long as he was disrespectful to the tool refining pavilion, he would be suppressed. There were many tool refining disciples walking in front of the tool refining pavilion. When they saw Shu Yujun and Lin Huang, they all saluted and greeted them. Shu Yujun and Lin Huang returned the salute, showing the etiquette of a large sect. Lin Huang led Yang Wu into the tool refining pavilion. This was the first floor that was open to the outside world. There were many fine weapons on display. Each one was displayed all around. There were all 18 types of weapons, each with their own unique characteristics. These weapons could be exchanged. As long as one was a disciple of the Mount Hing sect and had made enough contributions to the sect, they could use their contribution points to exchange for the weapons they needed. If they didn't have any contribution points, they could also use profound spirit stones to trade. There were deacons stationed here, so no one could break the rules here. Lin Huang said to Yang Wu and the others, "You can stroll around the first and second floors. I'll go to the third floor and ask my senior brother to come down. We'll talk then." Lin Huang walked towards the third floor. Shu Yujun brought Yang Wu and the others to tour the place. She said, "You are our honored guests. You can trade the weapons you need here." She said this by Weiming, Yang Hongchang, and the others to hear. The others didn't stand on ceremony with her, and began to disperse. They looked at the weapons here. If they found a suitable weapon for themselves, they could prepare 1 or 2 for their own use. Shu Yujun accompanied Yang Wu and said enthusiastically, "The first floor is mostly filled with ordinary weapons. Let's go to the second floor. It's filled with heaven weapons." Yang Wu sensed that Shu Yujun's gaze was a bit different when she looked at him, but he didn't think too much about it. He gladly accepted Shu Yujun's invitation and went to the second floor. Sure enough, the weapons on the second floor were all heaven weapons. Every one of them exuded the aura of Bayan. They were even more beautiful and of better quality. It was as if there were clanging sounds echoing endlessly. There were fewer weapons here than on the first floor, but their value was more than 10 times higher than on the first floor. Yang Wu's eyes were dazzled. Every heaven weapon here was an excellent weapon for him. Unfortunately, his ambition wasn't here. He just wanted to take a good look. He had robbed many geniuses and obtained many king weapons and heaven weapons. There was no need to exchange for more heaven weapons. He only wanted to reforge the 2 blades 3 dragon spear. Actually, with his materials, he could completely reforge a new spear weapon. However, the two blades three dragons spear was a battle weapon chosen by Little Hay. It would definitely be different. Therefore, even though the two blades three dragons spear was broken, he was still nourishing it. He hoped that it would become a suitable weapon for him in the future. After Yang Wu looked at the heaven weapons here, he couldn't help but feel a bit tempted. However, he still didn't make a move. Heaven weapons were already unable to satisfy his appetite. At this time, Lin Huang brought his senior brother Liao Hao down. This was a calm middle-aged man. He only wore a simple vest, revealing his bronze muscles. Blue veins popped out one after another. It could be seen that his explosive power was incomparably powerful. His bright and spirited eyes were like the sun, extremely dazzling and astonishing. This was a small saint who had reached the dragon transformation realm. Senior brother Liao. When Shu Yujun saw this middle-aged man, she bowed slightly and greeted him. Liao Hao only lightly nodded at Shu Yujun. He then looked at Yang Wu and asked, "You want to refine a weapon?" "Yes." Yang Wu replied. "Follow me." Liao Hao indifferently replied and took the initiative to lead the way. Shu Yujun said beside Yang Wu, "Senior brother Liao looks cold on the outside but is warm on the inside. Don't take it to heart. He is an expert in weapon refinement. With him making a move, your small saint weapon will definitely be fine." Yang Wu lightly nodded. He didn't mind Liao Hao's coldness because the other party had the right to. When Yang Wu followed Liao Hao to the weapon refinement grounds, the people in front of the 1,000 mountains were already impatient. The person who broke the 5 records hasn't come down yet. Could it be that he's breaking the 6th? Lu Manor muttered. Why don't we ask the Sacred Elder? Blindly waiting like this isn't a solution. Someone beside Lu Manor said. I think the Sacred Elder might have already taken him away. Another person said. No, I have to ask the Sacred Elder. When did our Heng Mountain sect have such a monster? We have to protect him with all our heart. Lu Manor said and then sent a sound transmission to the 1,000 mountains. May I ask the Mountain Guardian Sacred Elder, which peak's disciple broke the 5 records so that we can take good care of him? A sacred voice replied. He's not a disciple of our Heng Mountain. He has already left. You don't have to wait anymore. Disperse. Chapter 592. In front of the 1,000 mountains, Lu Manor and the other Dragon Transformation Realm elders were all dumbfounded. They had foolishly waited until the sky turned dark. Not only was the challenger not from the Heng Mountain sect, but he had also left early. Their old faces were burning with embarrassment. Elder Xing, can you tell me who that person is? The Lu residents asked again. Unfortunately, the Sacred Elder didn't reply to Lu Manor this time. Someone beside Lu Manor said, Elder Lu, I don't know if I should say something. Lu Manor glanced at the deacon and said. This deacon was the one who had given Yang Wu and the others teleportation jade tokens. He was usually in charge of guarding the entrance of the 1,000 Mountains Pass. He said, I think it's possible that the person who broke the record of all 5 passes is that young man called Yang Wu. Nonsense, he's just a kid in the heavenly fish realm. How could he break the record of all 5 passes? Even with my current strength, I might not be able to do it. Lu Manor rebuked. Elder Lu, he broke the records of the 1st and 2nd passes. I don't know if he broke the records of the last 3 passes, but since Sacred Elder said that the person who broke the record of all 5 passes isn't a disciple of the Heng Mountain sect, I can conclude that it must be him because he's the last outsider to leave the 1,000 Mountains Pass. The deacon said very seriously. Lu Manor and the others' expressions changed slightly. If that was really the case, didn't that mean that Yang Wu's talent had reached a heaven-defying level? Lu Manor thought for a moment and said, Tell me in detail what happened before he broke through the pass. The deacon didn't dare to hide anything and told Lu Manor about how Yang Wu had quickly broken through the 1st and 2nd passes. He raised all the doubts he had. It was almost certain that Yang Wu was the person who broke the record of all 5 passes. He was able to break the record of the first 2 passes, and he's an outsider. Moreover, he left after the record of all 5 passes was broken. It seems like it really is him. After the Lu mansion muttered this, they quickly left this place. Their speed was so fast that the other elders were somewhat baffled. "What's senior brother Lu doing?" someone asked. "He must have gone to question that brat. Let's go together," another elder reacted and said. Immediately after, many elders flew towards the direction of the Lu mansion. Some elders lost interest. After all, they were not from their own family, so they did not care too much. Sunset Peak. The sky had already darkened, but the setting sun peak was still flickering with flames. One could use the flames to clearly see the surroundings. Liao Hao brought Yang Wu and the others to a place for refining weapons. Here, there were many refiners working hard to forge weapons. Some refiners were incessantly guiding flames onto their weapons, while others were guiding waves of water onto their weapons. The number of refiners was no less than 300, and the scene was quite lively. This was only a corner of the Sunset Peak, and it was also where the refiners refined their weapons. These weapon refiners were all engrossed in refining the weapons, so they did not have the time to pay attention to the people who had just arrived. Liao Hao said, "Tell me your materials and requirements, and leave the rest to me." Yang Wu did not say anything and took out the dual-edged triple dragon spear, saying, "I want to reforge it." Liao Hao glanced at the dual-edged triple dragon spear and said indifferently, "This broken weapon of yours is not worth much. I'll reforge it according to its shape." Yang Wu shook his head and said firmly, "It's my life weapon." Liao Hao did not force it, "Up to you." Then, Yang Wu took out the 1,000-layered sand and turtle-veined stone. He did not stop because of this and took out a few more materials. There were flood dragon stones, ink star stones, and other rare materials. After Lin Huang saw these materials, he could not help but exclaim, "I didn't expect you to have flood dragon stones and ink star stones. These are minor saint materials." Shu Yujun and Bai Weiming did not find it strange that Yang Wu could take out ink star stones, but they did not expect Yang Wu to have flood dragon stones. This was a mutated stone that had been stained with flood dragon blood and could activate flood dragon battle chi. Liao Hao did not care about these 2 materials, but when he saw a material that was similar to the flood dragon stones, he was moved and asked, This is Blood Fiend Mystic Stone?" Yang Wu nodded and said, "Yes." "Good, very good. I'll refine it into a minor saint weapon for you, but you have to give me a Blood Fiend Mystic Stone as a reward," Liao Hao said excitedly. Shu Yujun said from the side, "Senior brother Liao, I already said that I won't take Yang Wu's reward. I'll do my best to find whatever you need." "No, I only want a Blood Fiend Mystic Stone," Liao Hao said with certainty. After a pause, he looked at Yang Wu and said seriously, "You have so many minor saint materials. What you want to refine must be a life minor saint weapon. It will take more time and energy than normal minor saint weapons. 1 Blood Fiend Mystic Stone is not a loss." "Okay, I'll give you a Blood Fiend Mystic Stone," Yang Wu agreed straightforwardly. He took out another Blood Fiend Mystic Stone and gave it to Liao Shi. This Blood Fiend Mystic Stone was something he had obtained from the bottom of the Blood Dragon Pool. It had been condensed by the power of the Blood Fiend Mystic Essence Chi. Its value was no less than a minor saint stone, and it contained a trace of Blood Fiend Mystic Essence Chi. Liao Hao had probably discovered this, so he asked for the Blood Fiend Mystic Stone. "Okay, you can all go back. When it's about to be refined, I'll have junior brother Lin call you over and help you refine a life minor saint weapon." Liao Hao's attitude was clearly much more enthusiastic. It wasn't good for everyone to stay any longer, so they prepared to leave the setting sun peak. Yang Wu opened his mouth and asked, "Does your setting sun peak have any guest rooms? I want to stay here." Lin Huang answered, "Of course we do. It would be even better if you could stay here." "Martial Heavenly King, we can't stay with you. The firepower here has a bad effect on our water race. Bai Wuming said from the side. Okay, you don't have to stay. I'll stay. Yang Wu replied. He had his own reasons for staying. The firepower here was very strong, and his heart flame wanted to absorb the firepower here, so he made such a request. Just as Bai Wuming and the others were about to leave, Yang Wu seemed to think of something. He called out to them and asked, "You water race rely on water to live, so you must have many water spirit treasures. I want to trade. Is that okay?" "We have water spirit treasures, but what will you use to trade with us?" Bai Wuming turned around and asked. Yang Wu thought for a moment and said, "Profound spirit stone." Bai Wuming shook his head and said, "That's not what we need." "Then what do you need?" Yang Wu asked back. "There are no rules. As long as you take out something that is beneficial to our water race, we can trade." "How about the heavenly water pill?" "What kind of pill is that? I've never heard of it." "It's a heavenly pill that can help your water race increase your strength. It's similar to the human race's heavenly fish pill, but the heavenly water pill is more suitable for your water race." "If that's the case, then we can definitely trade," Bai Wuming said with a burning expression. After all, the white water race was a different race. They could use the human race's pills to increase their strength, but their strength would be greatly reduced. It did not match their physique. If this heavenly water pill was really as effective as Yang Wu said, it would be a joyous occasion for their water race. "Okay, but before that, prepare a few sets of ingredients for me. Without these ingredients, I won't be able to refine it," Yang Wu said. "Sure, as long as we have it, we will try our best to satisfy you," Bai Wuming promised. Thus, Yang Wu quickly condensed the materials needed for the heavenly water pill into a ball of information and passed it to Bai Wuming. These materials were not the heavenly water pill's medicinal formula, but mixed with other medicinal ingredients. He messed up the medicinal formula to prevent others from stealing it. "We have most of these medicinal ingredients, but there are some that we don't have. I'm afraid we'll have to rely on Miss Shu to help us gather them," Bai Wuming said to Shu Yujun. Shu Yujun did not reply to Bai Wuming's words, but looked at Yang Wu and asked, "Are you really a heavenly alchemist?" Yang Wu spread out his hands and said, "Don't I look like it?" Everyone nodded, indicating that he really didn't look like it. "The pill pavilion is right beside us. Why don't you go over there and show us your skills?" Shu Yujun said with a faint smile. Although she didn't really believe that Yang Wu was a heavenly alchemist, it didn't stop her from admiring Yang Wu more and more. "All right, then let's go over." Yang Wu wasn't afraid at all. He wanted to trade for some medicinal ingredients from the Aqua Clan, and the heavenly water pill was undoubtedly the best trade item. He didn't mind showing off a little here. At this time, a group of people quickly rushed over here, giving everyone a big fright. Lu Manor rushed in front of Yang Wu and announced loudly, "You're called Yang Wu, right? You're extraordinarily handsome and outstanding. From today onwards, you'll be my junior brother." "Senior brother Lu, how can you be so shameless? He hasn't agreed to it yet, and you want to be his senior brother? Don't you have any shame?" the elder who rushed over from behind said unhappily. Then, he looked at Yang Wu and said, "Little brother, don't be afraid. I'll accept a disciple on behalf of my master. As long as you call me senior brother, I'll immediately introduce you to my master. He's the holy elder." "Damn shameless. You're damaging our Hung Mountain sect's dignity like this. In any case, let me ask him if he still has a master." "Yang Wu, join my East Peak Peak. Our cultivation method is one of the best. It can help you become a saint in the future." Not only was Yang Wu stunned, even the people around him were completely stunned. What were these people doing? Shu Yujun said tenderly, "Elders, what are you doing? If you have something to say it properly. He's a guest, don't scare him." Yang Hongchong, on the other hand, was aware of the situation. He loudly said, "You guys should give up. Yang Wu is a member of our battle clan's Yang family. He will not become your master's disciple. Yang Jia also said, Right, right. Elders, please be magnanimous. We just want to pass through here. We'll be leaving soon. Now all the elders came to their senses. After they found out that Yang Wu was a monster that passed through 5 stages, they all wanted to accept a disciple on behalf of their master. However, they neglected the fact that Yang Wu already had a master. Since it's like this, leave the heavenly dragon jade tablet behind. Someone sneered maliciously. Chapter 593. The Sky Dragon Jade token was of great importance. Even among the top forces, each of them only had a few tokens. At most, there would be no more than 20 tokens. The rest were scattered all over the domain, and the dragon transformation realm cultivators of each realm would fight for them. As long as one obtained the Sky Dragon Jade token, they would be able to see the Holy Birth. This was not a lie. Among those who obtained the Heavenly Dragon Jade plate, a third of them became saints, a third of them died, and a third of them did not obtain the opportunity. However, none of them reached the peak of the dragon transformation realm. The person who spoke just now was an elder from the West Peak Peak. His name was Zhao Lingrui, and he took good care of Xiao Qin. However, Xiao Qin was actually forced to shout, "I'm a pig," by an outsider. This matter would probably become the laughing stock of their West Peak Peak. Because of Xiao Qin, Zhao Lingrui did not like Yang Wu, so he asked for the Heavenly Dragon Jade plate. There were dozens of dragon transformation realm elders present, and not all of them were open-minded. Hearing Zhao Lingrui's words, someone said, "That's right, the Heavenly Dragon Jade plate belongs to our sect. How can we give it to others? Quickly hand it over. The Heavenly Dragon Jade plate is of great importance. Little friend, you should hand it over. You can take the rest. The epic rewards aren't cheap. Just let him take one of them. Hand over the rest." The elder from the Mount Hing sect spoke more and more overboard. He stared at Yang Wu with an oppressive gaze. Yang Wu narrowed his eyes. The anger in his heart was rising. He had obtained the rewards after passing the 5 stages with great difficulty. How could he just hand it over? Yang Hongchang said sarcastically, "I've heard that the Mount Hing sect is a famous righteous sect. Looking at it now, it's nothing more than that." "Humph, you took advantage of him, and yet you're still acting innocent. Quickly hand over the Heavenly Dragon Jade plate and get out of here." Zhao Lingrui snorted coldly. "Elder Zhao, you've gone too far. Yang Wu is my benefactor." Shu Yujun stepped forward and said, "If any other disciple spoke to an elder like this, they would be offending their superiors." However, Shu Yujun's status was not ordinary. No elder dared to do anything to her. "Young miss, I don't want to make things difficult for him, but the Heavenly Dragon Jade token is very important. As long as he hands over the Heavenly Dragon Jade token, we can give him the other rewards," Zhao Lingrui said slowly. "The obstacles set up by the 1,000 mountains are meant to be broken. Yang Wu broke the record and received a reward. That's what he deserves. Even if he's an outsider, he should be allowed to take it. Our Mount Hing sect can't afford to lose face like this," Shu Yujun argued. The Lu family echoed, "That's right. The Heavenly Dragon Jade tablet is important, but our Mount Hing's face is even more important. Junior brother Zhao, don't make things difficult for him. There are only a few Heavenly Dragon Jade tokens in the sect. Losing one means losing an unparalleled elder. Even if I lose all my face, I have to take it back," Zhao Lingrui coldly said. He actually ignored the feelings of others and went to grab Yang Wu. Zhao Lingrui was in the dragon transformation realm. His attack was shockingly fast. Yang Wu had no chance to escape. Fortunately, at this moment, a weapon flew over like a rainbow and stabbed between Yang Wu and Zhao Lingrui. It directly forced Zhao Lingrui's attack back. Bang! This ordinary weapon was inserted into the ground, making a muffled sound, and the ground seemed to shake. "Don't cause trouble in my refining pavilion. Liao Hao's voice faintly sounded. Who would have thought that Liao Hao would suddenly help Yang Wu? Junior brother Liao, what is the meaning of this? Zhao Lingrui looked at Liao Hao and asked. I don't want to repeat myself, Liao Hao lightly said. Zhao Lingrui revealed an unwilling expression. He looked at Yang Wu and coldly snorted, when you leave here, it will be time for me to take your token. After saying this, he turned around and left. A dozen elders left with Zhao Lingrui. There was still a portion that stayed behind. They wanted to verify whether or not it was Yang Wu who broke the record. Yang Wu still hadn't personally admitted it. Yang Wu's mood was very bad as he said, the record of the 1,000 mountains was broken by me. This heavenly dragon jade token was also given to me by an elder. If you have the ability, come and take it. Yang Wu's voice was mighty. Even Zhao Lingrui, who had walked far away, could hear it. He was so scared that he almost stumbled and fell. If it was really as Yang Wu said and the heavenly dragon jade token was given to him by an elder, Zhao Lingrui wouldn't dare to take it back. The younger generation really will surpass us in time. An elder looked at Yang Wu and lightly sighed before swaggering off. Another large group of elders also left. They just wanted to see what the person who broke the record of the 5 stages looked like. After confirming that it was Yang Wu, their hearts were filled with complex feelings. First, it was because Yang Wu wasn't someone from their Heng Mountain sect. Second, it was because Yang Wu was too young and his cultivation wasn't high. How did he break the record of the 5 stages? When Yang Wu said that he was an elder, they all believed Yang Wu's words. Such a talented youth would definitely be extraordinary in the future. It was a pity that he had no fate with their Heng Mountain sect. The Lu Manor unwillingly said, there are several battle clans. Your Yang family has already declined. If you enter my Heng Mountain sect, perhaps you can help your Yang family soar again. Yang Wu cupped his hands and said, many thanks for Sir's good intentions. Actually, I already have a master, otherwise how could I break through the 5 stages? He laid out his cards like this, and the Lu Manor had no reason to continue persuading him. They could only heavily sigh and leave with the other elders. Yang Wu, I think we should leave now. Not everyone in the Heng Mountain sect is a good person. Yang Hongchang suggested to Yang Wu. On the side, Shu Yujun's expression was not too good. She lightly said, Yang Wu, don't worry and stay here. With me here, no one can harm you. After saying this, she left alone with a resolute expression. Martial Heavenly King can relax. Young Miss is angry. Even Elder Xing has to give her some face here. Yu Xian said to Yang Wu from the side. Take me to the guest room first. I won't go to the pill pavilion. Yang Wu lightly replied. Then he said to Bai Wuming, come over tomorrow to get the heavenly water pill. Also, prepare some herbs or spirit treasures that your water clan has. I'll trade for as many as you have. Okay, as long as you can refine the heavenly water pill, we're willing to trade with you except for the sacred objects. Bai Wuming replied and also left. Bai Luoyun did not leave. He insisted on staying because he already regarded Yang Wu as his master. Yang Hongchang, Yang Jie, and the Proud Sword 5 heroes also stayed. They were afraid that Yang Wu would have an accident. Lin Huang arranged a guest room for Yang Wu and the others. Yang Wu was afraid that refining pills would attract a pill tribulation, so he asked Lin Huang to find a place where no one would disturb him to refine pills. You can refine pills in the courtyard. Even if you attract a pill tribulation, it won't be a problem. There's a formation here. Lin Huang replied. After a pause, he added, those people in the pill pavilion refine pills every day and attract pill tribulations from time to time. We're already used to it. This time, Yang Wu was relieved. In the mortal world, seeing a pill tribulation would be shocking. In the transcendent world, everyone was extraordinary and would not make a fuss when seeing a pill tribulation. Yang Hongchang, do you know what the heavenly dragon jade token represents? Yang Wu asked Yang Hongchang. Yang Hongchang revealed an envious expression and said, "You brat, you really have nothing but treasures, but you don't know the uses of treasures." He then said, "The Heavenly Dragon Jade Token is the sacred token for the Heavenly Dragon ranking. With it, you have the qualifications to enter the Evolving Dragon Holy Land, and can be considered half a step into the Saint Realm. The Transcendent World is vast and boundless, but only 10,000 people can enter the Evolving Dragon Holy Land, and these 10,000 people are all geniuses under 100 years old. All of them have stepped into the Dragon Transformation Realm. Only a few people in the Heavenly Fish Realm can obtain a Heavenly Dragon Jade Token. This is a great fortune." Bai Luoyun said from the side, "I've also heard of the Heavenly Dragon Jade Token. It's the strongest ranking of your human race's younger generation. Other races also have the qualifications to fight for the Evolving Dragon Holy Land. Whether it's our water race or the devil race, as long as you have enough strength, you can enter. There are a total of 100,000 Heavenly Dragon Jade Tokens, and 90,000 of them have been fought over by other races." That's right. No matter who has the Heavenly Dragon Jade Token, they will not make it public. Unless the Heavenly Dragon Jade Token is scattered in some famous mountains or in some mysterious places, it will cause a bloody battle. Yang Hongchang nodded in agreement. Then, he looked at Yang Wu meaningfully and said, "I don't know if it's a blessing or a curse for you to obtain the Heavenly Dragon Jade Token." "What do you mean?" Yang Wu asked in return. "An ordinary man's wealth is his own ruin. You should know this principle." "That's true. However, if anyone wants to steal my Heavenly Dragon Jade Token, I will chop off their hands." It's good to have confidence, but overconfidence is arrogance. After you follow me back to the Yang family, stay in the family and cultivate. Raise your strength as soon as possible. Yang Wu, Yang Hongchang, and Bai Luoyun chatted for a while and basically understood the situation of the Heavenly Dragon Jade Token. Right now, there were still 3 years before the opening of the Evolving Dragon Holy Land. To cultivators, 3 years was not a long time. However, to Yang Wu, time was of the essence. After all, to raise one's cultivation level to the Dragon Transformation Realm in 3 years was quite difficult for any prodigy. If Yang Wu was already at the peak of the Heavenly Fish Realm, it might be possible for him to break through to the Dragon Transformation Realm in 3 years. There were many prodigies under the age of 100 who could enter the Evolving Dragon Holy Land. All of them were talented and had extraordinary battle strength. If the gap in cultivation was too big, he might lose his life in the Evolving Dragon Holy Land. In addition, as Yang Hongchang said, an ordinary man was innocent, but treasuring a jade ring would arouse the envy of others. The people of the Mount Hing sect knew that Yang Wu had the Heavenly Dragon Jade Tablet and would definitely not let him take it away so easily. Although the Hing Mountain sect was a large sect, the saints would not bother with him. However, he had offended Shao Qin and those elders just now. They would definitely have other motives. There's no point in thinking too much now. Let's refine the Heavenly Water Pill first. Yang Wu muttered in his heart. He prepared to refine the pill in the courtyard. He would first exchange for what he needed. Chapter 594. The Heavenly Water Pill was just an ordinary pill among Yang Wu's high-level alchemy skills. It wasn't complicated to refine. For some of the foreign races who cultivated water profound qi, it was equivalent to the Heavenly Water Pill. It could raise a Heaven Realm warrior's realm by 1 level. Bai Wuming gave him a lot of herbs, but it wasn't enough. Shu Yujun had left, so he could only use his own resources. Other than herbs, he also needed a Heaven-level water demon nucleus. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to refine the Heavenly Water Pill. Fortunately, Yang Wu killed a lot of black water snakes. Most of the black water snake corpses were given to the Hing Mountain sect and the White Water clan. He also kept a dozen of the strongest black water snake corpses for himself. With their demon nucleus, he could completely meet the requirements to refine the Heavenly Water Pill. Yang Hongchang, Bai Luoyun, and the others were not in the mood to sleep. They all went to the courtyard to watch Yang Wu refine the pill. Yang Wu took out a bronze cauldron. It emitted a strong medicinal fragrance and an ancient aura. It was obvious that this cauldron wasn't an ordinary item. Yang Wu's mind flickered and herbs flew out. Heart fire burned on the cauldron's wall. The ancient patterns on the cauldron's wall flickered with blue flames. It was extremely dazzling. Yang Wu is clearly a member of our Yang clan, but he can awaken the true fire talent. Could it be that he has a water and fire fusion physique? Yang Hongchang thought to himself. Yang Wu's alchemy was pleasing to the eyes. His movements were incomparably elegant, not at all like the other alchemists who were very cautious in alchemy. It was as if he was doing something artistic. The blue enchantress that moved along with his palm flickered, illuminating his resolute and handsome face. If there was a girl here, she would definitely be infatuated with him. To refine a heavenly water pill, one only needed to refine more than 100 herbs. However, it contained 5 water profound Qi heavenly medicines and more than 20 king medicines. It was enough to support it to reach the medicinal effect of a heavenly pill. In the end, Yang Wu threw a black water snake nucleus into the cauldron and completely refined it in a short time. This kind of pill refining speed, if it was seen by the alchemists of the pill pavilions at the side, they would be stupefied. It was an eye-opener for the others. They didn't dare to make the slightest sound for fear of affecting Yang Wu's pill refinement. Not long after, the herbs and demonic cores were completely refined and finally condensed together. Yang Wu closed the lid of the cauldron, and the heavenly thunder quickly descended from the sky like a snake. Rumble, rumble. When Lin Huang, who was resting not far away, saw this scene, he could not resist leaping to the roof to take a look, and immediately cried out in surprise, "Yang Wu is really a heavenly alchemist?" Yang Wu's martial cultivation talent was definitely very shocking. This could be seen from the fact that he consecutively broke the record of the 5 stages. However, he also had the same talent in the path of alchemy. That was too frightening. On the other side of the setting sun peak, the people from the Pill Pavilion all sensed the commotion from the Tool Pavilion. Some were slightly surprised, but even more disapproved. They felt that perhaps one of their deacons went over to refine pills for the Tool Pavilion's people, so it was not surprising. The surprised people only sensed that this alchemist's methods were not weak, to actually attract 3 stages of pill tribulation. This ability was extremely rare in their pill pavilion, and only those elders had the qualifications to attract 3 stages of pill tribulation. There was an azure-clothed youth sitting cross-legged on the branch of an old tree. He was like a ghost floating, and actually did not break the branch. It could be seen that his methods were not weak. He just happened to see the 3 stages of pill tribulation, and he softly muttered, "A heavenly pill attracted 3 stages of pill tribulation. Could it be that a martial uncle is refining pills?" The azure-clothed youth did not leave the branch, and closed his eyes to cultivate again. After 15 minutes, the sound of pill tribulation sounded out again. The azure-clothed youth was disturbed again. He opened his eyes, revealing a somewhat complicated look. After the heavenly thunder finished, he closed his eyes again. However, this pill tribulation was not over. After 15 minutes, there was another wave. After 30 minutes, there was another wave. Furthermore, every wave was 3 stages of pill tribulation, making him unable to calm down. The azure-clothed youth could not take it anymore. He stepped into the air and flew towards the location of the pill tribulation. In the courtyard where Yang Wu and the others were, everyone was completely shocked, including Lin Huang. They couldn't imagine that Yang Wu was concocting pills. This was simply snatching pills. Without reaching the level of a saint alchemist, if one wanted to refine pills below the saint pill, any alchemist would carefully carry out every step of the refinement process. They were afraid that they would make a mistake and destroy important herbs, or even affect the final condensation of the pill. At this moment, Yang Wu did not take pill refining seriously at all. It was as if he was a saint alchemist. It was simply unbelievable. Yang Wu refined 5 batches of pills. 2 batches were heavenly water pills, 2 batches were 6-flavor earth yellow pills, and 1 batch was sky fish pills. These 5 batches of pills condensed into 10 pills each. It could be said that he had a lot of fruits. Originally, Yang Wu wanted to refine some king-level pills, but he suddenly sensed that there were strangers coming, so he stopped refining. It's about time. Yang Wu glanced at one of the dark directions and then murmured. Bai Luoyun could not wait to rush over and kneel in front of Yang Wu. With a look of worship, he said, "My lord, you are a rare man in the world. You are so amazing. I have decided to follow you until death. I will never regret it. Don't be so mushy. Get up quickly." Yang Wu heard that and had goosebumps. Yang Hongchang, Yang Jie, and the 5 heroes of the proud sword all wanted to follow Bai Luoyun and kneel. Yang Wu was really too monstrous. They did not know how to describe how outstanding he was. A warrior could have a heaven-defying combat strength, and an alchemist could have unparalleled refining skills. However, to have both, there was no one in the world of transcendence. Only in ancient times, some monstrous people who were born with dual Dao bodies could show such talent. Yang Wu's performance was comparable to those monstrous people who were born with dual Dao bodies. Lin Huang sighed in his heart, really amazing. At this time, a cyan-clothed youth walked out of the darkness. His eyes fell on Yang Wu and asked, "Were you refining pills just now?" After seeing this cyan-clothed youth, Lin Huang hurriedly went up to him and said with a trace of respect, "Hello, junior brother Gu Qing." It was Yang Wu who was refining pills. Gu Qing was already 30 years old, but his growth was extremely fast. Therefore, he always maintained the appearance of a 17-year-old. He had a high status in Sunset Peak because he was the true disciple of the Peak Master. His alchemy talent was unparalleled. Yang Wu looked at Gu Qing and gently cupped his hands in response. "You refined 5 cauldrons of heaven pills, and each cauldron only took a quarter of an hour. How did you do it?" Gu Qing asked with a strong sense of doubt. "I just did it while refining," Yang Wu replied perfunctorily. Gu Qing was not angry. He praised, "You are indeed very confident in alchemy. Why don't you and I have an exchange?" Yang Wu shook his head and said, "I'm tired of alchemy. I'm not interested." Yang Wu didn't want to cause more trouble, so he could only reject all of them. However, Gu Qing was unwilling to give up. It was rare for him to meet a young alchemist that he valued. How could he just let him go like this? "It seems like you look down on my alchemy skills." Gu Qing sighed and then glanced at Lin Huang. Lin Huang understood and said, "Yang Wu, you stay and exchange alchemy skills with junior brother Gu." Junior brother Gu was born a genius in alchemy. He became a spiritual alchemist at the age of 10, a medicine king at the age of 15, and a heavenly alchemist at the age of 25. He is only 30 years old now, but he can already refine dozens of heaven pills. He is a future alchemist. Other than Yang Wu, everyone present was moved. This was indeed an amazing genius alchemist. Yang Wu said with a trace of embarrassment, "I'm only going to turn 20 this year." Lin Huang was choked by Yang Wu's words. Gu Qing also revealed a trace of depression. With his talent in alchemy, he was absolutely amazing in the transcendent world. He did not expect to meet a youth that was even more abnormal than him. There was a 10-year gap between them, but their alchemy skills were already on par. He had indeed suffered a blow. "Do you know that there is an earth flame vein under Sunset Peak?" Gu Qing changed the topic. Yang Wu shook his head and said, "I'm not very clear." "Then I'll tell you. The earth flame vein beneath the setting sun peak has already formed a kind of heavenly fire. Whether it's for alchemists or weapon refiners, it's a rare fire seed. If you're willing to interact with me, I can take you underground to take a look. Maybe you can refine a wisp of the fire seed and increase the power of your true fire. Why not?" Gu Qing stated his conditions. It had to be said that Gu Qing's words were very persuasive. Yang Wu was moved. Yang Wu had already sensed the strong fire energy under Sunset Peak. Lan Yaoji kept calling him to go underground to absorb the fire energy and increase his power, but he restrained himself. What if you go back on your words? Yang Wu asked back. You can ask senior brother Lin if I, Gu Qing, am that kind of person. Gu Qing said. Lin Huang agreed and said, Junior brother Gu Qing is a very good person. Moreover, his words carry enormous weight in Sunset Peak. Heavenly Master Yang Wu, you can rest assured. Yang Wu pondered for a moment and then asked, How do you want to compare notes? Do you want to compete with me? No, we will only talk about alchemy. There is no need for a competition. Gu Qing said. Then he added, With your alchemy skills, you should be better than me. I won't embarrass myself. Hearing Gu Qing say this, Yang Wu's wariness was greatly reduced. He suddenly had a good impression of Gu Qing and felt that he was a very good person. All right, then we will exchange alchemy skills. Yang Wu finally agreed. At this time, Yang Hongchang interrupted them and said, Yang Wu, can you show us the pills you just refined? Lin Huang said from the side, That's right. Let us see. Yang Wu did not refuse and took out the 50 heaven pills he just refined. Each heaven pill had 3 pill veins and waves of medicinal fragrance filled the air. The pill body was smooth and clean. No matter who saw it, they would know that it was of high quality. Gu Qing took a closer look and sighed heavily. I'm not as good as you. Chapter 595. Gu Qing was definitely the top alchemist genius in the Hung Mountain sect's younger generation. Even he felt inferior, which meant that no one in the Hung Mountain sect's younger generation could compare to Yang Wu in alchemy. As for those alchemists who had been famous for a long time, there probably weren't many who could be like Yang Wu, able to refine 10 pills in one furnace with 3 tribulations for each pill. If not for the fact that Yang Wu was afraid that his performance would be too shocking, he would have resisted the pill tribulation in the previous pill tribulation instead of letting the array formation here wipe out the power of the pill tribulation. It was already shocking enough that he broke 5 records in a row. If he did something that ordinary people couldn't accept, it would probably cause others to be jealous. Bai Luoyun swallowed his saliva and pointed at a pill. Is that the heavenly water pill? I feel that the power of water is so rich. It's the heavenly water pill. It's better than the heavenly fish pill, suitable for your water clan. Yang Wu nodded. Gu Qing was puzzled. There's such a pill? Of course there is. Yang Wu replied. Your alchemy is indeed extraordinary. Gu Qing praised. Yang Hongchang pointed at another pill and asked, This is the heavenly fish pill, right? Yes, it's the heavenly fish pill. Can you give me one? Sure. Thank you, then I'll take it. Don't be in such a hurry. Take out 100,000 mid-grade Xian spirit stones first. Yang Wu, I'm your 7th uncle. This is too much. Don't try to curry favor. I've already given you a discount. The heavenly fish pill is at least 500,000 mid-grade Xian spirit stones. Yang Wu said seriously. Gu Qing agreed. That's right. 100,000 mid-grade Xian spirit stones is a fair price. The side effects of the heavenly fish pill are very small, and after taking it, there's a 100% chance of breaking through. 100%. I'll pay 100,000 mid-grade Xian spirit stones. Yang Hongchang swallowed his saliva and said loudly. Take out the Xian spirit stones and I'll give it to you. Yang Wu said. Can't I owe it first? I'll give it to you when we get back to the clan. Forget it if you don't have Xian spirit stones. Yang Wu said bluntly. Now, he realized that if he wanted to have a foothold in the transcendent world, he needed to have a good alchemy skill. Only by refining good pills would he be popular everywhere. Lin Huang rubbed his hands and said, Yang Wu, can I exchange a pill with you? What are you going to trade for it? I'll use the heavenly soldier to exchange with you, but not 1, but 3. How about that? You can exchange for ordinary heavenly pills with 3 heavenly soldieress, but I have at least 5 heavenly pills of 3 tribulations, and they are all high-level heavenly soldieress. All right, 5 it is. Tomorrow, I'll bring them over to trade with you. Remember to leave 1 for me. Lin Huang clenched his teeth. Yang Jie and the 5 heroes were envious, but they were still in the Earth-Sea realm. The heavenly fish pill was still far away from them. If they could get other pills from Yang Wu, they would be very excited. They all secretly decided that they had to hug Yang Wu's thighs tightly. Only then would they have meat to eat, no pills to eat. Yang Wu put away all the pills, then looked at Bai Luoyun and said, "Go tell your brother to prepare the items for the trade. I need a large amount of herbs or water tribe treasures. There's no limit to the level." He paused for a moment, then added, "The heavenly water pill also has another use, and that is to increase the affinity with water." Bai Luoyun's eyes lit up, and he said excitedly, "Don't worry, my lord. I'll go and discuss the trade with my brother." Bai Luoyun left as soon as he said that, and quickly rushed to Jianggazing Peak to discuss the trade with his brother. Gu Qing asked, "Do you have time now?" "No problem, but let's change to another place to discuss alchemy," Yang Wu said with a nod. "All right, let's go to my place." No, didn't you want to take me to the earthly fire vein? We can discuss alchemy there. Wouldn't that be great? Yang Wu said impatiently. Gu Qing revealed a strange expression and said, "Are you sure you can withstand the earthly fire flame?" You'll know once you try." "All right, then I'll take you there. I hope you don't regret it." The earthly fire flame was located at the bottom of Sunset Peak. It was a place of lava and belonged to a fire vein. The temperature was very high, and waves of fire flowed endlessly, forming a scene of a river of fire. There was a saint array here that isolated a large amount of fire and heat, making Sunset Peak suitable for people to live in. Otherwise, Sunset Peak would only be a volcanic crater and not a holy land for cultivation. After Yang Wu was brought to the Pill Pavilion by Gu Qing, he teleported from the Pill Pavilion's spatial door to the belly of the mountain. Only then did he see the shocking scene. The terrifyingly high temperature here was really not a place for people to stay. Even a king of the Earth-Sea realm would not be able to stay here for more than an hour. At most, they would have to leave after a quarter of an hour. Otherwise, they would be burned to death by the high temperature here. Even a heavenly fish realm expert would feel uncomfortable staying here, let alone calmly discuss alchemy. Gu Qing's physique was extraordinary. He had been refining pills since he was young, and his body was full of fire. He was not uncomfortable staying here and seemed very relaxed. He originally thought that Yang Wu would not be able to withstand it, but who knew that he was overthinking? Yang Wu did not show the slightest bit of discomfort. Instead, he looked happy and murmured, as expected of a great clan. To be able to control such a fire vein, it can be said to be a work of the gods. This long lava was constantly surging with waves of fire. From time to time, unknown fire beasts rushed out of the fire. These fire beasts looked a little like cheelants, but in fact they were not cheelants but fire lion beasts. They were the owners of this fire vein. There were many fire lion beasts here. They were originally very fierce and usually did not allow any living creatures to come close. However, they were suppressed here by the sacred elder of Mount Heng. Even if they sensed that someone was coming, they did not dare to roar at will for fear of inviting a disaster. At this time, a small fire lion beast rushed in the direction of Gu Qing and Yang Wu. Just as Yang Wu was about to deal with it, Gu Qing stepped forward and waved with a smile. "Little Flame, you're being naughty again." The fire lion beast called Little Flame let out a strange cry and intimately drilled into Gu Qing's body. This small fire lion beast was covered in fire. It was not something that ordinary people could touch. If they touched even a little bit, they would be burned to ashes. However, Gu Qing acted as if nothing had happened and was not afraid of these flames at all. Blue Demoness, who was in Yang Wu's heart, was very happy. It almost jumped out and absorbed the fire from the fire lion beast. Yang Wu comforted it, "Don't worry, you can absorb the fire here. Don't devour other people's spirit beasts." Yang Wu completely let go of Blue Demoness, allowing it to absorb the fire as much as it wanted. In an instant, a large amount of fire profound qi surged in Yang Wu's direction and entered his heart. Gu Qing sensed something and turned his head to look. He immediately revealed a surprised expression and said, "So you brought up the topic of alchemy here to absorb the fire." Yang Wu spread his hands and smiled. "My alchemy skills are better than yours. If I don't get any benefits, wouldn't I lose out to death?" Gu Qing revealed a smile and said, "In alchemy, the ability to control fire is very particular. Let me test your ability to control fire first." After speaking, he flipped his palm and absorbed a stream of fire. Then, it condensed into the appearance of a fire lion beast and threw it at Yang Wu. Roar! This fire lion beast was very lifelike. Its fire was amazing and its battle aura was overflowing. In the blink of an eye, it rushed in front of Yang Wu and wanted to swallow Yang Wu. Yang Wu did not move. Blue Demoness, who was in his heart, rushed out and turned into a flood dragon. It directly coiled around the fire lion beast and swallowed it. The flood dragon's power completely suppressed the fire lion beast. There was no suspense in the battle between the two sides. The flood dragon won. The blue flood dragon seemed to burp and looked at the fire lion beast beside Gu Qing. It wanted to swallow it as well. Roar, roar. The small fire lion beast hid behind Gu Qing and roared. It did not dare to fight the blue flood dragon because the blue flood dragon's fire was of a higher level. It could not withstand it. In the earth fire vein, fire lion flame beasts emerged one after another. They looked at the blue flood dragon and roared in unison, as if they were about to rush up and devour it. "Hurry up and put away your fire. You're not from the Heng Mountain sect. If they rush up, I won't be able to withstand it," Gu Qing quickly advised. Yang Wu did not want to make things difficult for Gu Qing, so he put Blue Demoness back into his heart. However, Blue Demoness was still greedily absorbing the fire energy here. "Do you still want to compete?" Yang Wu looked at Gu Qing provocatively and said. Gu Qing said, "You have the innate talent of heart fire, right? It's really powerful. I'm not as good as you." Then, a ball of fire appeared in his palm. It was a ball of flame that was as red as blood. It looked extremely stunning. The fire lion flame beast beside him let out a series of joyful cries, as if it had a very deep affection for this ball of fire. "This is my heavenly lion flame. It's not an innate talent, but a fire that was fused into my body. It's not any worse than any innate talent, but your innate talent is of a higher level. This fire control technique can't compare," Gu Qing said somewhat dejectedly. "It's good that you know. Then what else do you want to discuss with me?" Yang Wu asked back. Gu Qing sat down and said, "Discuss alchemy techniques." After saying this, he did not care if Yang Wu agreed or not. He started from the most basic alchemy techniques and analyzed his experience in alchemy. Gu Qing was indeed an outstanding alchemist who had been in contact with alchemy since he was young. He was extremely focused on alchemy and paid a lot of attention to the details. There were many details that Yang Wu had overlooked. If he could perfect these details, he would be able to preserve more of the essence of the herbs. Also, he was quite knowledgeable about some recipes. He could use different herbs to create different pills with different effects. He had created some low-level pills with special effects that were rarely seen in the world. Yang Wu became more and more shocked as he listened. He had received Little Hei's alchemy inheritance, and it was already very complete. However, after listening to Gu Qing talk about alchemy, he realized that he had neglected a lot of the exploration process. He was not as focused as Gu Qing and did not understand alchemy as well as Gu Qing. Chapter 596. Alchemy and Alchemy Dao were two completely different realms. Alchemy was only at the stage of alchemy. One had to refer to the pill formula to refine the pill step by step. No matter how brilliant an alchemist was, they could only say that they knew alchemy and not alchemy Dao. There were 3,000 Daos, and alchemy Dao was one of them. When it came to the root of Dao, it was not as simple as refining pills on the surface. One had to feel every detail of the refining process and the principles behind it. What was the principle of alchemy? When refining the healing pill, one had to have a state of mind to save others. One had to wholeheartedly refine the pill so that more people could be saved. Or when refining the soul-nourishing pill, one had to focus one's mind and feel that one's soul would be sublimated along with the refining of the pill. Also, when refining pills to raise one's realm, one had to feel the mood of raising one's realm, such as happiness, excitement, and so on. Only then could one be considered to have truly integrated into the alchemy Dao, and not as simple as alchemy. It was just like the three realms of Buddhism: seeing a mountain as a mountain, seeing water as water, seeing a mountain as water, seeing a mountain as not a mountain, seeing water as not water. In the end, seeing a mountain as still a mountain, seeing water as still water was the same principle. Now Yang Wu was still in the first realm, but Gu Qing had already entered the second realm. Yang Wu's refining of the pill was more perfect than Gu Qing's, but Gu Qing's refining of the pill was more diligent than Yang Wu's. The former was talented and had little Hei's alchemy training, so his growth was astonishing. The latter was more diligent because he liked alchemy. Even if his talent was slightly worse than Yang Wu's, he had the advantage of being single-minded. After Gu Qing finished explaining his understanding of alchemy Dao, it was Yang Wu's turn. At this time, the little lion flame beast beside Gu Qing was completely leaning in his arms like a docile kitten. It was very quiet and did not hurt at all. Yang Wu first sighed softly and said, "Listening to your words is like seeing the moon through the clouds. I understand what alchemy Dao is. I am not as good as you in this aspect." "You are modest," Gu Qing responded gently. In the next moment, Yang Wu also began his talk about alchemy Dao. And gained by mutual s's. Of Bai Gu was, Bai was, Bai Gu, Bai s, had was, and gained b, had been, Bai Gu. As a result, the two of them continued to communicate and discuss, verifying their respective alchemy methods, and both of them gained great benefits from each other. As they talked, they began to talk about higher-grade pills, as well as some of the elements needed to become a saint alchemist in the future. At this point, Yang Wu clearly had the advantage over Gu Qing. After all, little Hei's high-grade alchemy skills included the elements needed to refine saint pills, and Gu Qing did not have the qualifications to be involved. The more Gu Qing listened, the more he became a humble disciple. He kept asking Yang Wu for guidance on all kinds of high-grade pills. Yang Wu also wasn't stingy with his explanations. Gu Qing's harvest was huge. As Yang Wu and Gu Qing's understanding of alchemy deepened, Yang Wu revealed some of the high-grade alchemy skills that little Hei had taught him. It was as if an immortal alchemist had possessed him and was preaching. Tens of thousands of herbs appeared in the air, each one representing a different medicinal property. Ancient cauldrons floated in the air, as if ancient alchemists were refining pills. The scene was extremely shocking. These were all alchemy skills that involved saint pills, and had an invisible effect on the changes in the earth-fire vein. The fire lion flame beast was constantly breathing out flames, and the flames were controlled by them. It was not like before, where it only knew how to spit out flames and did not know how to control the intensity of the flames. After the fire lion flame beast listened to the two peerless geniuses discuss the Tao of alchemy, it was very useful for them to become stronger. Yang Wu and Gu Qing had become their great benefactors, and among them, Yang Wu's contribution was the greatest. Although Gu Qing had only scratched the surface of alchemy, Yang Wu also began to touch his own Tao as he absorbed Gu Qing's alchemy skills and integrated them with Little Hei's knowledge of alchemy. Yang Wu felt as if he had returned to ancient times, when he tasted hundreds of herbs and refined hundreds of pills. He had a deep understanding of the medicinal properties of each herb, and he was very attentive in refining each pill. He experienced the feeling that Gu Qing had described. This feeling was completely derived from his divine court Tao flower, and it had the same effect as his meditation cultivation. Suddenly, flaming herbs emerged from the earth-fire vein. These flames were shaped like fire lotuses, blooming with 49 petals, and the lotus heart was in the shape of the fire lion flame beast, which was extremely vivid. In an instant, many fire lotuses absorbed the rich fire xianqi here, and the petals became more delicate and beautiful, and the fragrance of the flowers became more fragrant. Gu Qing was pulled back to reality by the fragrance of the flowers. He looked at the earth-fire vein, and his face revealed a look of horror as he muttered, "Fire lotuses born from Tao, this legendary phenomenon has appeared." On Sunset Peak, many fire xianqi herbs were growing crazily. Ordinary herbs became spiritual herbs, and those that were originally spiritual herbs were quickly promoted to king herbs. The strong medicinal fragrance covered Sunset Peak, and there was a kind of Tao rhythm of sacred herbs growing everywhere. When the people who took care of the herb garden on Sunset Peak discovered this change, they couldn't help but exclaim, "So many herbs have advanced. What the hell is going on?" They seemed to have been injected with some essence power, and they became full of vitality overnight. It's really incredible. Look, our Sunset Peak's fire xianqi seems to be much richer. Could it be that the earth-fire vein has changed greatly? It seems to be coming from below the earth-fire vein. I vaguely heard someone talking about alchemy. Look, there are two shadows in the sky. One of them is senior brother Gu Qing. Who is the other person? What's going on? Why are they above Sunset Peak? The people on Sunset Peak were dumbfounded. Two illusory figures had actually appeared above their peak. One was Gu Qing and the other was Yang Wu. It was the process of them discussing alchemy that was being reflected. After the Pill Pavilion's disciples were surprised at first, they quickly became engrossed in the two's discussion of alchemy. Many questions about alchemy that they didn't understand suddenly became clear. Some disciples felt that they had finally touched the edge of spirit apothecary, while others advanced to king herbs. There were even some who had the possibility of advancing to heavenly apothecary. All of this was due to the influence of the two youths in the sky who had touched pills, helping them understand what alchemy was. A saint apothecary in the Pill Pavilion was alarmed. This saint apothecary was the only true saint apothecary in the Hung Mountain sect. He was already senile, and it was unknown how many years he had lived. He sat cross-legged on the highest floor of the Pill Pavilion, and his pair of sacred eyes looked through the window. Nothing outside could escape his senses. He faintly said, "All disciples of the Pill Pavilion, listen attentively and comprehend alchemy." Whether it was ordinary disciples, direct disciples, or little saint apothecaries, they all responded in unison, "Yes, Peak Master." That saint apothecary was setting Sun Peak's Peak Master, and was one of the 9 giants with the most authority in the Hung Mountain sect. The saint apothecary looked at the figure and muttered, "The younger generation will surpass us in time." After saying this, a wisp of his saint's soul flew into the depths of the earth-fire vein. Many people from the other peaks of the Hung Mountain sect also sensed the change in Setting Sun Peak. They looked at Setting Sun Peak slowly rising, and their eyes were filled with astonishment. Many of the saint elders were alarmed. They looked at Setting Sun Peak's momentum that was like a pillar of fire soaring into the sky, and their pleasant surprise also carried a strong sense of envy. They all knew that Setting Sun Peak would welcome a spurt of development, and the disciples of the peak would rapidly grow, solidifying their positions in the sect. Setting Sun Peak's alchemy Tao is flourishing, and the heavens are truly protecting our Hung Mountain sect. It won't be long before another saint apothecary appears, and then our Hung Mountain's position in the Five Mountains sect will be even higher. Those two youths, I know that one of them is that child Gu Qing, but who is the other youth? Could it be a disciple recently accepted by Setting Sun Peak? It shouldn't be. If it was, then that old guy would definitely show off in front of us. However, since he appeared in our Hung Mountain and comprehended the Tao of alchemy, his future accomplishments will definitely be extraordinary. Our Hung Mountain will do our best to keep him, and if we can't keep him, then we will do our best to be on good terms with him. This will only be beneficial to our Hung Mountain. Yes, it should be so. On Southern Peak, there was a middle-aged man and a young woman standing together. They looked in the direction of Setting Sun Peak, and they also saw the change in Setting Sun Peak. The middle-aged man was very elegant. He wore a white robe, and his long hair was tied up with heavenly silk. He wore a golden headband on his forehead, and in the middle of the headband was a blood-red crystal that was incomparably dazzling. His face was handsome, and his eyes were spirited. A jade belt was tied around his waist, and he wore a pair of jade boots with wind patterns on them. This was a pair of saint boots that could increase one's speed. The middle-aged man stood with his hands behind his back, and his eyes revealed a disdainful aura that was intoxicating. He was Shu Yujun's father, and the current sect master of the Hang Mountain sect, Shu Yuqing. He had the strength of a saint. In the Five Mountains sect, every sect master had the strength of a saint. If they weren't even a saint, then they wouldn't be able to control hundreds of thousands of people. Is he the Yang Wu you spoke of? Shu Yuqing looked in the direction of Setting Sun Peak and asked indifferently. Yes, father. I also didn't expect his alchemy skills to be so amazing. It seems that even junior brother Gu Qing has been subdued by him. Shu Yujun's beautiful eyes rippled as she replied. Haha, of course a young man that my daughter likes is extraordinary. If he only knows alchemy, then it would be a pity. However, he has already comprehended the Tao of alchemy, so this won't hinder his martial path. This is a well-rounded brat. Not bad, not bad. Shu Yuqing smiled with satisfaction. Father, what are you talking about? Shu Yujun said with a shy expression. Chapter 597. Tao Discussion. This was something that only those who had reached the Saint Realm were qualified to discuss. Under the Sunset Peak's earth-fire vein, a young man and a young man were discussing the art of alchemy. However, it involved the art of alchemy, which led to a shocking change. A flame rose from the earth-fire vein. It was an extremely thick flame seed. It was dark red and condensed into the appearance of a fire lion flame beast. It was like the ruler of this place, intimidating the other fire lion flame beast. It rushed in the direction of the young man. This ball of flame had definitely reached the heaven realm. It was the origin flame seed that any alchemist dreamed of. It came from the depths of the earth-fire vein. When it rushed over, Gu Qing was awakened. He looked sideways and saw this ball of flame pouncing on Yang Wu's body. He had no time to block it. He clicked his tongue and said, Heavenly Lion Flame. The flame seed condensed in the earth-fire vein was Lion Flame. Because the fire lion flame beasts lived here, their flame seed was originally just earth fire. After many years of accumulation, it had condensed into heavenly fire. Blue flames pulsed in Yang Wu's heart. It was as dazzling as a fairy, and the firepower it emitted was extremely scorching. It seemed to reveal an extremely cheerful expression as it formed a basin to welcome the arrival of the heavenly lion flames. Unknowingly, Yang Wu had closed his eyes. He didn't feel the heavenly lion flame pouncing on him at all. Bang! The two flames collided and made a dull sound. However, it wasn't very intense. It was more like the movement caused by the fusion of two flames. With Yang Wu as the center, the temperature quickly became extremely hot. It forced Gu Qing to quickly retreat for fear of being affected. Gu Qing had refined heavenly fire in his body. It was formed after birth, but it was not an innate fire after all. It couldn't be compared to the power of the two heavenly fire in front of him. If he didn't retreat, He might be injured by the power of the two heavenly fire. This guy. Gu Qing looked at Yang Wu sitting in his original position, safe and sound. He was being burned by the two heavenly fire, but he still didn't wake up at all. It was really shocking. Yang Wu really didn't have time to care about Lan Yaoji devouring the heavenly lion flame. He was in a state of enlightenment. In his mind, scenes of alchemy and Little Hei's alchemy kept appearing. He could even vaguely see the ancient alchemists refining pills. With a wave of their hands and feet, they refined medicinal herbs, refined demon cores, and condensed medicinal pills. There were all kinds of medicinal pills of different colors, and they attracted a terrifying pill tribulation. The boundless power of the lightning was enough to destroy an entire region. Pills had different medicinal effects. When an alchemist refined different pills, they should have different methods. Only by understanding the medicinal effects of each herb and the best way to fuse them could they refine the most perfect pill. The path of alchemy was to use one's body as a cauldron to fuse hundreds of herbs into one's alchemy path. After he understood this, one of the leaves of the divine court Dao flower flashed slightly. A ray of light entered the leaf and branded the foundation of alchemy path. After Yang Wu broke through to the heavenly fish realm, the divine court Dao flower had a total of 8 petals. The first petal had already fused with the Dao of death, so it was black. The second petal nurtured fist intent, which might become a type of fist Dao in the future. The third petal nurtured sword intent, which was obtained from the Imperial College. It could also form a type of sword Dao in the future. The fourth petal nurtured spear intent, which was condensed from Yang Wu's reverse dragon spear technique. The fifth petal contained all kinds of battle techniques, including the savage beast fist, dragon flame fist, reverse dragon spear technique, and dragon turtle sea turning technique. This petal was colorful. The sixth petal nurtured alchemy path, which wasn't very obvious yet. The remaining 2 petals weren't branded with other grand Daos for the time being, so they were pure and white. The divine court Dao flower wasn't something that anyone could condense. Only those with astonishing talent could form the Dao flower by chance. The reason why it was called the Dao flower was because it could condense into Dao, which would eventually become the ultimate martial arts of a warrior. It had a very important meaning. Yang Wu's Dao flower was branded with all kinds of knowledge. He even had 2 types of Dao and 3 types of intent realm. If this news were to spread, it would definitely scare people to death. One person cultivated one Dao. This was the ancient teaching. As the saying went, one shouldn't bite off more than one could chew. After all, a person's energy was limited. If one cultivated many Daos, one's achievements would be limited. Only by focusing on one Dao would one be able to unleash the greatest power. This was the experience of the predecessors. Although Yang Wu had a cheap master, he had never received much guidance. His master had only left some key points of understanding for the Earth-Sea realm and Heavenly Fish realm. Everything had to be explored by himself. He cultivated too many things which couldn't be said to be his fault. In Little Hei's eyes this was nothing. She wouldn't open her mouth to remind him. When Yang Wu condensed his Dao, the blue demoness and the heavenly lion flame fused together very smoothly. The heavenly lion flame was attracted by Yang Wu's Dao preaching and the blue demoness. It became a part of Yang Wu's body. This was a phenomenon. The heavenly flame had recognized its master. Heavenly flame was difficult to find and even more difficult to tame. Some warriors had obtained a heavenly flame, but most of them were burned to death by the heavenly flame's backlash. Only a small number of them could refine the heavenly flame and obtain the power of the true flame. However, some people were born with the recognition of the heavenly flame. Not only would they not be harmed by refining the heavenly flame, but they would also obtain great benefit. Right now, Yang Wu was in such a situation. He had obtained the recognition of the heavenly flame and took the initiative to fuse with him. The blue demoness was originally an extremely rare top-grade immortal flame. Even Little Hei was shocked by it. After it fused with the heavenly lion flame, its grade changed again, and it was moving closer to becoming a little sacred flame. At the same time, his heart seemed to have been injected with unlimited power, and its vitality became extraordinary. The heart controlled the power of the bloodline. After the blue demoness leveled up, it directly tempered the power of his bloodline and removed the impurities. It did not form a pure blue bloodline, but a mixture of blue and red blood, forming a purple bloodline. Its boiling ability was even more powerful, like the condensation of a volcano's magma, and it could erupt with destructive power at any time. The color of the blue demoness became even deeper blue, like an extreme flame that came from the depths of the ocean. It was incomparably mysterious and bewitching. Yang Wu's body surged with energy, and his battle intent soared into the sky. The blue flame spread out and swallowed the fire of the earth fire vein, forming a fire xianqi storm, forcing Gu Qing to retreat again and again. It was also at this time that an extremely thin wisp of heavenly lion flame shot towards Gu Qing. This wisp of heavenly lion flame also came from the depths of the earth fire vein. Although it was not as powerful as the heavenly lion flame that Yang Wu had just obtained, it was already extremely rare for him. It just happened to be able to strengthen his acquired fire. Moreover, the power of this kind of heavenly flame that had recognized its master would be even more handy, infinitely close to the innate true fire. Gu Qing looked at the heavenly lion flame that was rushing towards him and was extremely surprised. He released his firepower and carefully wrapped the heavenly lion flame. Then, he absorbed it into his body and sat down cross-legged to fuse with the heavenly lion flame. The heavenly flame that Gu Qing had fused with was extraordinary. It was a kind of earth stone essence fire. It didn't cause much harm to his body when fusing with it. If it was a beast flame, it would cause a certain backlash. His earth stone essence fire had been cultivated for many years, and with the care of his sect, it had only reached the intermediate heavenly realm. After fusing with this wisp of heavenly lion flame, it could steadily reach the advanced heavenly flame. The two sat cross-legged in the earth fire vein. In the blink of an eye, 3 days and 3 nights passed. Gu Qing was the first to wake up. His strength had increased a lot, and his firepower was incomparably majestic. There was a faint opportunity to break through to the intermediate heavenly fish realm. Gu Qing specialized in alchemy. It was already quite difficult for him to reach the elementary heavenly fish realm in his early 30s. After he entered the intermediate heavenly fish realm, his alchemy skills would be even higher. Gu Qing looked at Yang Wu, who had yet to wake up. He couldn't help but envy in his heart. This guy is really abnormal. Originally, he only wanted to discuss alchemy with Yang Wu. Who knew that Yang Wu's foundation was so strong? Not only did Yang Wu suppress him, but he also caused a change in the earth fire vein, benefiting the sunset peak, and even obtained the heavenly lion flame. Even he had gained something. He had no choice but to admit defeat. After a while, Yang Wu finally opened his eyes. His eyes were suffused with a thick flame, like the sun and moon, showing off their sharpness. At this moment, Yang Wu's strength had reached the peak of the elementary heavenly fish realm. He was only 1 step away from the intermediate heavenly fish realm. This was the increase in strength obtained from devouring the heavenly lion flame. If it was Gu Qing who had obtained so much heavenly lion flame, he would definitely be able to advance to the intermediate heavenly fish realm. However, for Yang Wu, it was only a small increase in strength. It could be seen how deep Yang Wu's foundation was. Gu Qing looked at Yang Wu and felt that this guy was like a rising sun. He was gentle but contained an incomparably terrifying power. It made him feel a trace of admiration. Yang Wu looked at Gu Qing and stood up. He cupped his hands and said gratefully, "Thank you, Brother Gu, for inviting me to discuss alchemy." If Gu Qing hadn't invited him to discuss alchemy, he wouldn't have been able to comprehend alchemy, let alone obtain the heavenly lion flame. He had to thank Gu Qing. Gu Qing returned the greeting and said, "I should be the one thanking you. Your alchemy skills are better than mine, and you know more than me. You are not stingy with talking with me. You should accept my greeting. Isn't this your original intention for inviting me to discuss alchemy? Yang Wu smiled. Then we don't need to thank each other. These are what you and I have gained from discussing alchemy. Gu Qing replied with a faint smile. He paused for a moment and pointed to the blooming fire lotuses and said, "These are fire lotuses that grew because you comprehended alchemy. You can take them as you wish." Before Yang Wu could take these fire lotuses, a fire lion flaming beast rushed up to Yang Wu, prostrating itself on the ground and growling something. Yang Wu looked at Gu Qing with a puzzled expression. Gu Qing revealed an envious expression and said, "This is the fire lion flame beast's way of expressing their gratitude to you. They might even have a gift for you." Just as he finished speaking, the largest fire lion flame beast spat out an item that made Yang Wu ecstatic.